What is up, everybody? Happy Friday evening and happy 4th of July Eve. 250 years ago today, we were about to become a free nation. So I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for all your love and support. Welcome to all the new people that are here. Appreciate all of you. The more and more that people join and get to experience this channel and this community, the outpouring of love and support for this channel, myself, but also all of you, is really amazing. And I just wanted to give thanks to everyone who's made sure that the culture and the atmosphere here is positive and a good place for everyone to come and be a part of it. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to all the mods. Make sure to give all the mods love and respect and appreciation, and to all the community members that are here as well. Okay. All right. So Friday, thank God it's Friday. What a long week. Today is going to be an insane show. It's crazy, like in prepping for shows for the way that this channel is set up. And it's always been that way. Like I've explained this many times. And so the haters and the criticizers are just so silly, like trying to compare me to other channels that like I was never trying to be like them. What are you talking about? That's not what this is. This channel is where I am me. I'm unique. I do me, and that's what we do. But in preparation for each show, like combing through the internet and trying to find material on the people that I think are involved in any way, shape, or form in what led up to the pressure that was on Charlie Kirk before his assassination, people that were in his vicinity before the assassination, and then all those same people seem to have been benefiting after the assassination in one way, shape, or form. And some days you don't find a lot, and other days you have 15 tabs at the top, and you're like, holy smokes, today's going to be crazy, but it's going to be good. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be jam-packed full of energy, and you're going to see me at my best. So as you guys come in, please do me a favor and hit that like and the subscribe, pretty please. It is the best way that you can help support a channel and support this community. All right. Something hit me today when I was watching. So I don't know if you guys know, Ben Shapiro came out with like a public service announcement, right? Like, oh my gosh, Tucker Carlson said he wants to create a third party. He doesn't want anything to do with the Republican Party. And Ben Shapiro comes out and attacks him for that. I think that's pretty telling. Okay. One of our major critiques of Israel, and I'm just tired of it. I'm not saying Philly anymore. It creates so much confusion to the community. People that are new here always are in the chat or the comment section later, like, what's this Philly thing? What are you saying? Israel. Okay. We'll see how it goes. Ever since I did, what was it? I think when I did the Candace Owens and Sean Ryan video, and they were just saying it. They were just saying it all the time. So I was like, whatever, it's already on the video. So like, I'm just going to say it. So now I'm just going to keep saying it. So it is what it is. One of our major, assumptions or allegations about like AIPAC and Israel is that they own both parties, and that they've owned both parties for a long time. Okay. And I've started doing research in the RNC and the DNC. Like, I think the RNC has like 168 voting members, right? Like there's and the same thing with the DNC. I'm pretty positive that both parties are 100% owned by Israel in one way, shape, or form, or at least controlled by them. And so think about this. I have a video of Ben. I'm going to get Sonia. Thank you. I'm going to get to your thing in a second. It is diabolical. We're going to look at, and I have other things to Ben. Like today's going to be a really good show. Everyone's going to want to stick around for the whole show. Trust me. It's insane. We're going to build something out here because something hit me that hadn't hit me before. Do you guys know who was Charlie Kirk's very last guest on his own show? Who was Charlie Kirk's very last show of the Charlie Kirk show? Ben Shapiro. Did you guys know that Charlie Kirk didn't want to do that interview? He didn't want to do that interview. Do you know who made him? Andrew Colvett made him. Who's Andrew Colvett owned by? Israel, in my opinion. Who's the one that told Miriam Adelson what Trump said to Charlie Kirk in private, in confidence? Andrew just happened to be there when Trump said, I'm going to take Miriam's money and I'm going to screw her over. Charlie didn't tell Miriam. Andrew told Miriam. Andrew is for sure a bad player, a very, very, very bad player. We're going to watch an interview with Alex Clark and Ben Shapiro just days after the assassination. And what you're going to find out is that Tyler Boyer and Andrew Colvett are the people that brought everyone in really to Charlie Kirk's vicinity after 2018 that remain in TPUSA to this day. Okay. And after the assassination, Tyler Boyer and Andrew Colvett were leading the charge in communicating with other people, with people like Ben. Guess who Ben contacted when he wanted to offer his services to TPUSA after the assassination? Andrew Colvett. He called Andrew Colvett personally. Surprise? Big surprise? No surprise. No surprise there. All right, let me hit this. Sonia Moore. Ben's interview was diabolical. I think Ben knew exactly what was going to happen to Charlie before that interview. Yes. And I'm going to point something out. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. It gives me chills. It gives me chills thinking about the reality of this and that the possibility that this was a strategic move by Bibi Netanyahu, by Andrew Colvett, by Salem Media, by Israel, by all the Jewish donors. This was a strategic move. If all of those people knew for a fact that he wasn't coming home after September 10th, they knew this would be the very last show of the Charlie Kirk show with Charlie Kirk on it. And that would give Israel the last word. That would give Ben the last word. And they could say up until the night before, see, they're friends with Ben. Charlie's friends with Ben. Look at the interview. Guess what Ben does when he goes on the Alex Clark show and Alex Clark asks him, was there beef? Was there any beef? Guess what he points to as evidence that there was no beef? That interview. No, what beef? I was just on his show. I was on his show the day before he was murdered. We laughed together. No beef. No beef at all. Coincidence? I think not. And I don't think it's a coincidence that on that interview, Charlie knows for a fact the immense pressure that he was in by the 9th. He sent the text out that night. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. September 9th, Andrew Colvett makes Charlie do the interview. Charlie says, I don't want to do the interview. Andrew Colvett says, you got to do it. We already guaranteed. Andrew told someone on an interview, I think it was that British weird looking guy, Charlie didn't want to do it. Andrew made him do it. Okay. I don't think it was just because he made him do it. I think there was a strategic purpose for doing it. And I think it had to do with, it was going to give video evidence and a date on it as the last interview to point to be like, see, no, he's pro-Israel to the very end. No, pro-Ben Shapiro to the very end. No beef, no issue, completely still a Zionist. Look, he had, the number one Zionist on his show the night before, and there was no issues. Made him do it. Charlie would know that he's not going to be able to push back hard on that show with him, okay? And later that night is the night after he does a video sit-down interview, Zoom meeting with Josh Hammer, which is Ben Shapiro's like little freaking monkey, and Rabbi Wolicki, who probably controls Ben and Josh Hammer, right? Like that guy's evil. I don't know if you guys know. We'll look at it. And he goes on Aaron Milan. Oh, Aaron Milan, who are you? Please go home. Crawl back under the rock that you came from. You're irrelevant. People email me all the time that live in Australia. They think you're a fraud. They think you're a joke. You're a failed personality that got propped up by Israel. That's it. Everyone knows it except for people that aren't Australian and they have no clue about your background and history, but you're a joke. You're a fraud. My opinion, personal opinion. She has Rabbi Wolicki on. Is it a coincidence that the same people that we know for a fact are shilling for Israel and are defending the FedSlop narrative and are defending everyone at TPUSA and defending Erika Kirk? Is it a coincidence that all these people prop up one another on their different shows, support one another on their different shows, and all attack all of us and all support Israel and support the, can I say genocide? The genocide, that's going on and the war in Iran? Is it a coincidence that these same people are the people that Charlie was being pressured by, that Charlie was tired of? He was trying to rid himself from? Is it a coincidence? I think not. Let me get to the next super chat that just popped up. Vasiliki, thanks as always. Thank you. You're welcome. And then we got, hold on, where are we at? Brett. Oh, Bree baby, where you been? Remember me? Ha, ha, ha. I'm so sorry. This semester is hard. I missed you all. I'm so proud of you. Thank you, Bree. Bree is one of our mods that is also a full-time mom, a full-time wife, and a full-time student going to school to be an RN, right? Registered nurse. It's in medicine. I know for a fact. I think it's RN, right? And she's been working her tail off, and we've all missed her. So glad to see you. Just glad that you're back when you can make it, because we totally understand what it's all like. I work a 40 to 50 to 60 hour regular job during the work week, because my kind of job, it doesn't end when I clock out at work. I do a lot of things at home. I have to answer phone calls from parents and do a lot of things and do this as well. And I'm a husband and a father as well. So I totally understand, totally get it. You got to do what you got to do to take care of you, your husband, and your kids, and your future first, always. So happy to see you. All right. And then we have Kevin Hunts. America wouldn't exist without the Jews. I was like, what? Okay, but then I said it and then I heard it back. Gotcha. Yes. Happy 4th of July. You're funny, bro. I like that. That's good. Oh, did I skip one? I think I missed one. I love seeing your growth and confidence. Thank you, Bree. Yeah, a lot's changed since the last time you were here, right? I don't know. The last time I think you were here, we maybe were below 10,000 subscribers. And as of right now, I think we're at, I can't add another tab on the top because it'll mess things up. Okay. I'll have to text Mitch Snow later. Hey, if you guys, let me hit this one real quick. Bree said, thank you, Matt. I just want you to know I always love my BLB crew. Support you always. We know that. 100%. And Dulcinea, hi. I didn't mean to click on that, but if you guys want to, you guys know Matthew Tuziorone. He was the former TPUSA insider that has come on the show twice. Can you guys just lift him up in prayer? If you guys are praying people, just pray for him for safety and just for well-being. Can you guys just do that for me? Would be great. Let me go to here because I can't add another tab up there. Right now, we are currently at 17,234 subscribers. And with the growth that we're at right now, it looks, hopefully, God willing, it will continue to grow and we'll be at 20K before we know it. All right, let me make sure I got to all those supers. I did. All right, now we're going to get into it. All right, we're going to start. Well, hopefully I didn't miss a thought. I didn't leave a unfinished thought on the table. Yeah, so just let me close the loop real quick. Andrew Colvett pretty much forced Charlie's hand. Okay. Yes, the last full-on time that Charlie was on camera was the entrepreneur interview podcast show that he did on September 10th. But the last Charlie Kirk show interview that was done is Ben Shapiro. Okay. And I don't think it's an accident. I don't think it's an accident that Charlie said he didn't want to do it. I don't think it's an accident that Andrew made him do it. I don't think it's an accident that it was Ben Shapiro, #1 Zionist, you know, and I don't think it's an accident that it was a way of saying, we own you. You don't have a choice in your show. We own Andrew, who's part owner of your show. And if we want to have someone on your show and we want to shill on your show, we're going to make it happen. It was a way of showing him how little control he had over himself and over his own channel, right? And it was a way of them saying, we get the last word. Israel gets the last word. You don't know it. You don't know it yet. We know it. This is strategic. Everything we do for a reason. We get the last word. You don't get the last word. Ben Shapiro gets the last word. And it was another way of saying, like I said, like shoring up Ben's defense that him and Charlie were friends to the end, and that Charlie was a Zionist to the end. So I think all of that was strategic, because think of this, you guys, going back to the Ben Shapiro interview that we're going to watch right now where he attacks Tucker Carlson. You're going to also hear Ben in his interview with Alex Clark say, when Ben met, oh, and here's the other thing. I have two thoughts, so let me get them out so that I don't forget them. Guess where Ben Shapiro met Charlie Kirk for the first time? I think it's called the Adam Horowitz Freedom Center. That's where Charlie saw Candace speaking. Okay. That's also where Candace went to work when Marissa Straight and Dennis Prager helped her right after the, Hitler comment in the UK, which was taken out of context. I don't think that's an accident. I feel like these people were they saw Candace and Charlie moving on up and they wanted to separate them. And I think Ben has been part of this from the very beginning, strategically hiring her at Dennis Prager so they can control her there. Well, Dennis, obviously, Marissa hired her there. But then after that, then she goes to Ben. And it's like they knew that they were going to have control over her in each of those places. And I lost the other thing that I was going to say. Dang it. I hate it when that happens. I should have got both thoughts out partially and then finished. All right, let's just get right into it. And if it comes to me, I'll let you guys know. All right. If you guys haven't done so already, please, wait, where'd it go? Please hit the like and subscribe. It's the best way to help support the channel. All right, let's go. Let's get it. Oh, man. I can't answer. I can't answer right now, dude. Sorry. I'll call you later. All right. This is what it is. Ben Shapiro said, he's going to say it in the Alex Clark interview, that when he saw Charlie speak for the first time, he said he just knew Charlie was going to run the RNC. And if Charlie would have been a team player, if he would have been a good guy, if he would have been able to be just bought and controlled by Israel, I think he would have been the head of the RNC. And I think that what we saw was TPUSA was becoming the new RNC, or it was the beginning of a whole new political party. Can you imagine? I forget what the actual term is, but when you control both sides and nobody knows, right? And when you control both parties, right? And nobody knows, you're just in control, period, right? And the founding fathers said the worst one of the worst futures of our system, our political system, would be a two-party system, because they already foresaw that would be ripe for corruption and control. And I think if Charlie could have been alive to this day and seen what they've done to Trump since September 10th, and what Trump and JD have completely turned on their promises and their campaign promises on us, he would have realized right then and there that the Republican Party and the Democratic Party are both two sides of the same coin. And that really the only way forward is to create a whole new party, a true a true American first conservative Republican Party that serves the people. I'm on board for that. I'll run for that. I'll get involved in that. I'll do that 100%. 100%. And if Charlie was already thinking of how he was going to split from the Jewish donors and even start a whole new organization separate from TPUSA because he didn't own it, and really started to understand that moving forward for future elections, we would need a third alternative party. And Ben coming out with this public service announcement, this has been their fear. When Candace started going Max, what was their attack on her? Oh, she's going to destroy the coalition. She's going to destroy MAGA, America First. She's going to ruin the midterms. She's going to ruin it for 2028. She's breaking Tucker and Candace and are destroying the Republican right. We are waking up finally. They want us to return to like the Garden of Eden, right? To this time of ignorance, this time of control, right? Where, and obviously being with God is not the same kind of, analogy. Being in the Garden of Eden with God in a state of, just in God's presence is obviously not the best analogy, but what I meant is like they weren't aware of things in the garden that they became aware after the fact. But anyways, they want to return us to a place of control. They want to return us to a place of ignorance. Okay. Well, we're not going to do that. That's not happening. The only way forward is through. And I'm 100% on board with Tucker and Candace to create a third party, and I will get involved 100%. All right, let's go.
You can see I'm recording from home today. My voice is basically gone, but I wanted to sign into chat because I'm getting a lot of questions today, a lot of texts, a lot of disturbed phone calls about Tucker Carlson's announcement that he wants to start a third party.
Good.
And I just want to point out that there are, in fact, as we approach the 250th anniversary of the founding of our country, there are, in fact, two forces that wish to wreck America.
You guys, I didn't think it was possible for Ben's voice to get more annoying. I literally didn't think it was possible for me to want to punch him more than I already did every time I see his face and his bushy eyebrows. Well, good job. Congratulations, Ben. You did it. You did it. You're more annoying than ever. I literally want to punch you even more than I've ever wanted to punch you before. Great job. If that was your goal, you've achieved it.
Stern to stem that seek to destroy it. The DSA left and the woke right, and they are coming together. I'll explain in just a moment. This is the Ben Shapiro Show.
Don't want him to give me a copyright claim.
A country. The things that matter most to the United States, to Americans, are under assault. Core principles, things like freedom of speech and freedom of religion and private property. These things are under assault. The very idea of America being an amazing place, a place that is good and great. The idea of American peace through strength. All of these things are currently under assault. On the left, of course, the DSA, the Democrat Socialists of America, are eating the Democratic Party wholesale. These are not kind of normal Democrats who are just worried about tax rates or entitlement programs. They truly despise the country, and they are full-scale socialists. Here was Zohran Mamdani just yesterday talking about the magic of Marxist economics.
And we raise taxes on the wealthiest New York.
All right, we don't care about we know he's bad. Okay, great.
Mamdani, he loves the idea of the collective warmth of.
All right, so we're not watching this whole thing anyway. What the whole point of that is this. He is out there, and we know that he's out there on behalf of Israel, okay? 100%. Every day, every moment of every day, he breathes for Israel. And so you can bet if he wants something, it benefits Israel. If he is promoting anything, it's promoting it for Israel. So just on the basis of Ben's promoting it and defending it alone, I reject it. I reject it full cloth, whole cloth. Stop. Because get out of here. I don't want you. I don't want Israel. We're done, bro. We're so done. I don't know anyone that's not done. If they are, they're bots. They're fake. They're brainwashed. Okay. The whole thing, he's going to attack Tucker Carlson. Him and like Jeremy Boring and Josh Hammer and all of these people have made it their whole life position and purpose at this point is to attack Candace, attack Tucker, and lie about Charlie Kirk. So if they're afraid of a third party, that means we need to create a third party. Okay. If they're afraid of Tucker or concerned about Tucker and Candace, that means that's who we need to support. Okay. And we need to get involved however we need to get involved. And I agree with Zach Costello. I think he either did, I don't know if he incorporated it or not. He wanted to create an alternative to the TPUSA. I agree. And if he hasn't created it yet, I want to create one, and I'm already in the process, and I already have the name, and it's a name that Charlie created, but no one used it, but it's from Charlie. But I found out, this is what I realized. So Jeremy Boring and Ben Shapiro created the Daily Wire as an alternative news network, right? It's a media company where they went and they grabbed major conservative talking heads and were going to give them their own shows, okay? It was a way to have like a network with different shows where people cover different things, but through podcasting, okay? Instead of having a brick and mortar building and doing it the old school way, like CNN, CBS, ABC, all them, it was going to be a new way of doing the same thing through this medium. Charlie did the same thing, okay? Charlie's vision and desire was better, way better. The Daily Wire, it's sad that, you know, Candace at any point ever, well, we were all under a state of delusion, right? And like, you know, brainwashed, like we all kind of believed it. Maybe some of us didn't. I mean, it took us a while. 2023 helped wake us up, October 7th. And then the response to that helped wake us up a lot. But before that, we were all as unless you were Catholic, right? But you kind of always were concerned and weary of these people. But for Protestants, largely, we were all pro-Israel. But Charlie was doing the same thing. He was going around finding talent in the conservative, Christian, Republican, sphere and giving them a job to create a new type of network company, but not the old school way, the new school way. And I feel like that's what we need to do. I feel like people like Candace and Barron and Zach and myself and others that are actually Christians, there's a lot of fake ones out here. They're not. I'm not even going to name them, but hopefully you guys have discernment and you can tell who is genuine and who's not. Need to, I think, band together to create something similar as TPUSA's original concept and goal. Yeah. And if they don't, then I mean, shoot, I'll do it on my own and we'll start doing it. But all right, let me continue. Now we're going to look at here. Okay. Charlie and Ben. All right. So I kind of already laid out the idea that this was strategic. This wasn't an accident. Okay. Charlie didn't want it. Andrew made him do it. And look I could show you at the bottom. Okay. So the title is Israel Bombs Qatar. Okay. Ben Shapiro joins the Charlie Kirk show. All right. This was filmed on September 9th, 2025. All right. And it doesn't really give a video description as to this interview, but I really do think this was a way of the Jewish donors, Israel, the people controlling Charlie, saying this is our golden boy over here, Ben. Okay. And we're going to make it to where he is the very last show that anyone ever sees that you did with him, with anyone on your show. And it's going to be about Israel, and it's going to be about defending Israel and justifying Israel's actions in Gaza and the West Bank and Palestine. And you're not going to have a choice. You're going to voice your disapproval to Andrew, and Andrew's going to double down and make you do it anyway. And now the internet is forever and it never forgets. And now this will be a, piece of evidence. So they thought, that proved that Ben and Charlie didn't have any differing opinions and they were friends to the end and there was no beef, and that Charlie was he was a Zionist to the very end. Look, he even did the show with Ben at the very end. And it was a way of saying, we own you. We get the last word. You don't get the last word. We'll be the very last show you ever do. And I don't think that's an accident. All right, let me see my timestamp on this because the whole thing isn't really. Let me start.
We're on Team Civilization here. We want to see the maniacs of Hamas be defeated. So we've seen news this morning that, quite honestly, I'm a little confused by, and I was hoping you could navigate it and help us understand, which is that Israel bombed Qatar, which houses a lot of Hamas officials. What happened here? And if I were to introduce just the skeptical question, will this potentially endanger America's own interests in the Middle East? So please, Ben, help me better understand the situation.
That was his sarcasm. Did you guys catch that? Charlie was so smart. Charlie was so smart and strategic. And Candace said this, right? Like he would, placate people, right? And then like behind the scene, like regarding Trump, right? He'd be there. He's like, being a diplomat, he's like arguing for us and what we want, stay out of Iran, stay out of the war. And then he's getting out of the, when he comes out of the White House, he's emailing and texting people, hammer it hard, go on your show, hammer it hard. Have your people that have contacts to the administration, reach out to them and hammer it hard. Candace said he was very strategic in that. And he was like, much like Candace, a dog with a bone. And not going to let it go until it's all the meat is shaken off. You know what I mean? And so him asking, do you really think Charlie thought Ben needed to help Charlie understand this issue? No, that's not what was happening there. This is Charlie kind of being sarcastic, kind of being passive aggressive, kind of letting Ben know what he thinks of him. Oh, Ben, why don't you let me know? Can you just inform me, please? Because I'm so stupid and I don't know. Can you just please tell me? Please educate me, Ben. That's how I read that.
Sure. So I think that the lead up to understand here is that Qatar.
Oh, what do you know? He has to promote his own book. How gross is this? How gross is it that what they're doing about this show, what this show is about, has nothing to do with his book? And he's got it, but he told Charlie to do this. Author, Lions and Scavengers. It should have been =the Jews.
Sort of plays both sides when it comes to its negotiating stance between Hamas and Israel and the United States. So it has provided extraordinary material support to Hamas directly, billions of dollars in material support to Hamas. The leadership of Hamas have been living in Qatar for years at five-star hotels. Hamas's priorities have been pressed by Qatar in negotiations multiple times. Qatar has not put significant pressure on Hamas in the past to release the hostages or to end the war. And so basically, as Israel nears the...
All right, so the real part, there's only one really, really interesting part. Well, wait, I didn't think this is it. But let me see.
Whether the accusations are accurate, they certainly are not, again, by any stretch of the imagination.
Author
hold on.
Genocide by which Israel is committing
a
very long war against an intransigent terrorist enemy that legitimately embeds itself in the most damaging places.
A claim I receive often, and we're starting our campus tour tomorrow, is that Israel is committing genocide. How do you respond to that, Ben?
Look at Charlie's face, you guys. Look at that face. So couple things. Charlie was serious. He thinks that. He said on the PBD podcast, right, that Bibi had a mandate and was giving, a mandate to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Hands down, since then, okay, we played videos of their, on Thought Crime and on the Real America's Voice from like June up to September, where we knew that their position, Charlie's and TPUSA's position on all of this was leave us out of it. It has nothing to do with us. The only reason why Charlie even verbally and publicly supported Trump with the limited bombing in Fordo was because Trump had given him assurance that that was going to be it and that they weren't going to get dragged into a long quagmire war in the Middle East like Iraq. And he was putting his trust in that Trump would keep his word. But he didn't want anything to do with what was happening over there. Okay. And so when he asks Ben this question, it's not just, oh, please tell me your opinion, Ben. It's a way of allowing Ben to show how dishonest he really is, right? All of us can see with our own eyes and our own brain that a genocide is happening over there. Okay. We just can. Okay. Everybody that's honest. He's going to ask him on his show and go, you got the floor, bro. Let everyone know that you'll defend a genocide to the end because you're Jewish and it's for Israel. Look at his face. He didn't have to ask that question. He chose to ask that question. This is less than 24 hours before Charlie would be murdered by, in my opinion, these people. I have a feeling that Ben got off this show and was pissed off, and was like, yeah, green light. In my opinion, that's my opinion. And then that emergency Zoom call meeting at the end of the 9th in Charlie's house with Rabbi Wolicki, Josh Hammer, Andrew Colvett, and then Mikey McCoy, Blake Neff, and Frank Turk were there, was a way of them to try to get Charlie back. And this was their last chance, last attempt to get Charlie just to do it willingly, to willingly bend the knee. And then he came out of that. And after being forced to do this interview that day and everything else that was going on in his life that day and the weeks prior and the months prior, he came out of there and texted 3 people and said, they are going to kill me. And we know because we watched the 10X conference with Grant Cardone. He was not afraid of leftists. He was not afraid of purple-haired, jihadist, crazy, liberal crazies. You know, he just wasn't. He said that himself. The people that concerned him and that gave him the most caution about maybe hurting him and doing something bad to him were people inside of his inner circle, people that betrayed him, lied to him, deceived him, people that were willing to jeopardize their ethics, their morals, their principles, their values to get ahead, to do anything and have no real religious Christian backbone. Those were the people that bothered him and concerned him the most. Ben's in that group.
There's literally no definition of genocide by which Israel is committing a genocide. Typically, a genocide involves the targeted killing of the vast majority of the population, or at least an attempt to do so. There has never been a genocide attempted in world history in which the food that was being shipped in was more than the daily caloric intake of the average American into the areas where you're supposedly attempting to genocide the population. The total population loss in the Gaza Strip thus far has been 3%. During the
So if you guys want to watch something, I don't want to pull up another tab until I'm able to exit out of some of the tabs I have at the top. There is a debate that happened just days or weeks after Charlie's assassination between Brandon Tatum and Dave Smith on the Piers Morgan show. And trust me, I can tell you right now, Dave wins, destroys him. Brandon is bought and paid for, in my opinion. He is a shill. And these people like Aaron Molan, Josh Hammer, Ben Shapiro, who else is on that? Dana Laish, you name it, Graham Allen, Paramount Tactical. All of these people get these Hasbara talking points, okay? And if some of those that I mentioned don't really touch the whole Israel and Gaza and genocide thing, then just apply it to the ones that do for the Hasbara talking points. Verbatim, everything Ben is saying are talking points that Brandon hits, ding, 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 in the debate with Dave Smith. and you see Erin Milan hit it every time she's on the air. These are the same talking points that they all restate and regurgitate every time that this topic comes up, but they're all a lie. Dave proved that. He destroyed Josh Hammer in person at the Student Action Summit debate in June 2025 with Charlie Kirk. Charlie texted Dave after that and said, you freaking destroyed him. You destroyed him. So Ben is shilling. I mean, that's no news to you. Okay. That's not a surprise here. Right. But just pointing out, everything he's saying is a lie. It's a twisted stat. It's a manufactured talking point to try to justify the genocide that really is taking place.
Holocaust, just to take a reference, it was 50%. During Rwanda, it was significantly higher than 3%. You don't issue leaflet warnings to people. You don't go house to house in a genocide in an attempt to reduce civilian casualties. I understand that people use genocide at this point to just mean thing I don't like. And I get that. I understand. Nobody likes war. Nobody wants war. Certainly not the Israelis who are not.
Oh my gosh. You can't even say that and like convince me. Like you saying that and being as unconvincing as you are is like Erika when she says, you know, how much she loved Charlie, you know, or that Charlie appointed her CEO, or that like, you know, she's going to, you know, be tasteful with Charlie's socials, or, you know, that she believes that, you know, Tyler Robinson's the lone gunman. It's like, bro, like, you're not convincing. Like we all know that you love war. You like, you like, blah, you love war. What are you talking about? It's like you wake up and go to sleep. Like, boom. You're just like, you guys are watching videos and like cheering. And you guys have like these like movie nights where you're like watching the bombs drop on the Palestinians and you're like eating popcorn and enjoying it. And you're like, yes. Ah. Oh, he's such a scumbag. Don't look in the camera when you make that statement. Look away.
Not at war on October 6th. The fact is that every Israeli family has to send their 18-year-old son or daughter off to the military with the possibility that they're going to get blown up in Gaza. That is not something that any Israeli wants, right, left, or center. The real question is whether the accusations are accurate. They certainly are not, again, by any stretch of the imagination.
Author, Ben Shapiro, author of Lions and Scavengers. We're going to get to that in a second. I have one or two other questions on Israel. I think it's very important for our audience to hear this, though, because there is an incessant campaign. And one thing a friend sent to me, interestingly, which is, okay, Charlie.
It's so interesting that he didn't finish that. Sorry, I got to get to the to the timestamp. It's at 13 flat. Wait, Charlie and Ben. Yeah, 13 flat, because we have so many videos. Okay. If I played this all the way through, we're going to be here like 10 hours. We can't be here that long tonight. 13 flat. Look at Ben. Oh my, let me back this up. I want to get the full context of what Charlie's saying.
Last question on this, Ben. I know this might be a tougher question, but Bibi said, quote, I didn't like he said this. I'll be honest. You can't be MAGA if you're anti-Israel. I don't like it for a couple reasons. How did you analyze that statement from Bibi?
So good. So good. We're going to listen to it. Don't worry. Charlie understood that he may not be able to accept or deny certain guests on his show. Andrew's part owner. Andrew set up the schedule. Andrew set up this interview. Charlie voiced his disapproval. Andrew said, doesn't matter. You're doing it anyway. So Charlie's like, that's fine. That's fine. And I can't come out and just say what I really want to say because, you know, there's already a target on my back for just asking questions and pointing out that we need to be America first. That's okay. I know what I can do. I'll just let Ben dig himself into a hole. I'll just ask questions. Ben can show us his own philosophy and his ideology, and everyone that's watching, because it's mainly Gen Zers and conservative Christian Republicans that watch Charlie Kirk show, they can make up their own mind. And they've gone on the same journey with Charlie over the last couple of years. All the viewers that were there at this point when this thing aired that aren't there anymore because Charlie's dead and Erika took over, and they proved that they completely turned around and did the total opposite of what Charlie was doing. But at this point, it was mainly Gen Zers and people that agreed with Charlie that were watching the show. Charlie was like, I'll just ask him some questions that I know he's going to spout Hasbro talking points, and he's going to show everyone what a freaking dishonest creep he is. And so this is a strategic thing, asking him a question and letting him dig himself in a hole. Yeah. So can you be MAGA and not be Israel first?
I mean, and I think that there is the ungenerous way of interpreting that and then the generous way of interpreting that. So the ungenerous way.
How about just the honest way of interpreting it? How about just the honest way?
Is to suggest that you have to hold a particular position on every Israeli governmental activity in order to be MAGA, which of course is not true. I mean, you can disagree from the right or from the left with Bibi's policies.
That's not true. When we do that, we're called anti-Semites. Okay. That's what happened with Carrie Brigine Bowler. That's what happened with Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. We've only brought issues against Bibi and the government and their decisions to, carry out this genocide on the Palestinians, and we're all called anti-Semites for doing it. So literally, you're lying.
And you can still be plenty MAGA. I think the idea that Bibi is putting out there is that if you are taking Hamas's side against Israel in a conflict, it is very difficult to align that with the stated positions of the Trump administration or what President Trump himself is doing right now. And that much I certainly is true.
You cannot look. I think
no one that has critiqued Bibi and the genocide in Gaza and what Israel has done and is doing and will do, no American that I know of went to, and that's going to be Ben's argument on with Alex Clark, and you're going to see it in a minute. Charlie wasn't doing it. Candace hasn't done it. Tucker hasn't done it. None of us have done it. We don't support Hamas. We just don't support Israel and Bibi. Like they're saying that it's this false dichotomy. Like, no, it's not just because we're criticizing and not approving of Bibi and what they're doing in Palestine that we're supporting Hamas. No, we didn't say that. We're supporting the people, the innocent civilians that are being slaughtered over there. That's who we're the voice for the voiceless. What are you talking about?
I think you can have disagreements on Israel and still be MAGA. Obviously, you should be America first. But if you're pro Hamas, you're something darker, and we shouldn't put up with that. Ben,
which we weren't, and which we aren't. All right, let's go here. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be tough. Okay, this is just, let's see, when did this come out? This came out on September 22nd. 12 days. They didn't waste 12 days to get this scumbag on the show. Okay. Guess who Ben called to offer his services to TPUSA after the assassination? Andrew Colvett. Who, and he has Andrew Colvett's number. Who's the person that made Charlie do Ben's last interview? Charlie's last interview with Ben? Andrew Colvett did. Okay. Yeah. Getting Ben out there as if, so this is a way. So when they propped up Ben Shapiro, Josh Hammer, and Rabbi Wolicki as three examples of Charlie being a Zionist, a pro-Israel, and a friend of them to the very end, and Bibi too, they all came out immediately and lied about Candace and lied about where Charlie was in their friendship and relationship with them as a way of saying, no. Charlie wasn't changing. He didn't say, I'm going to leave the pro-Israel cause. Charlie never said that. Candace is like, perfect. That's what I was waiting for. Send receipts. Charlie supported us all. He was friends with us all. There was no issues. What are you talking about? You have to think about that. Erika and Andrew start getting Ben out there in preparation the day before the assassination, 12 days after the assassination. Also, they accept his money and allow him on Amfest to headline the event and trash Candace, Meghan, and Tucker. Yeah. And in that phone call, Ben offers any service, all of his services and resources to TPUSA, not just him as a talking head and his money. Anything. You'll hear it.
Is he was 18, I was 28, and I was working at the David Horowitz Freedom Center. And
I don't think that's an accident. I don't think it's an accident that's where Charlie saw Candace. That's what they said, right? Is where they met. I don't think it's an accident that's where Ben saw Charlie. I don't think it's an accident that's where Dennis Prager and Marissa Straight took Candace after like they forced this crisis between her and Charlie at TPUSA when they were in the UK, and she made the statement about nationalism and Hitler. I don't think it's an accident that's also where Ben was working when he saw Charlie. I think there's something majorly wrong with the Adam Horowitz Freedom Center and everyone associated with it.
We were doing some sort of Horowitz Center freedom event, and I see this gangly 18-year-old kid with a very ill-fitting jacket kind of bop up, and he goes, "Mr. Shapiro, I'm starting this organization called Turning Point. We're looking for donors, and I really want to talk to you about what it is that we're doing." And so we sit together, and he tells me about all this extremely energetic, obviously very bright, really, really gritty. I mean, one of the things we say at Daily Wire in terms of our hiring is you can't teach grit. Like Charlie is just grit and energy all day long.
So that would be true about him and Candace Owens too. All right, I'm gonna just hit the bullet points. Okay.
Of nature or tension. Can you talk candidly about that gap?
Yeah, I mean, I never felt that in terms of my personal relationship with Charlie.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly, it's not like we ran a campus organization. I mean, we run a media outlet. And so the idea that there was some sort of competition for whom would have been weird. I mean, the reason there was a gap is because there was COVID. Right? I mean, like,
it was COVID. That's why they stopped really talking and being friends. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right.
That was 2019. Then there was a gap in 2020 and 2021. And then last year, right, I spoke at AmFest in December.
So no beef.
No.
Why didn't he answer that? And he looks around the room. Oh, that's not obvious body language. You're giving a tell that you're being dishonest and deceptive. No. Wait till you hear what he says next as his proof and evidence that there was no beef.
I mean, what would the beef have been? I mean, that's the thing I keep asking people. So what is the supposed beef?
Israel. You are for them no matter what. You're not America first. Charlie was America first. Charlie was threatening the Republican, party, right? He had the future base of the Republican movement at his fingertips, and he was completely turning on his support and stance with Israel. 100%. Can't deny it at this point. Undeniable.
That I had with Charlie between, say, 2019 and 2023. What exactly?
No. 2020. See how we did that? No. The beef actually started in 2023 to 2025. That's the point, actually. And I found that interesting that he says the timeline where the beef supposedly existed was 2019 to 2023. He intentionally ends the period of supposed beef actually when the beef actually started, because he was pissed. Ben Shapiro was pissed off when Charlie Kirk went on the PBD podcast and said that Bibi Netanyahu in Israel has a mandate to ethnically cleanse Gaza, right? And that Bibi and the government there allowed October 7th to happen, or they facilitated or made it happen themselves, like their version of 9/11. That's where the beef started, and he knows it. He knows it intentionally. He left that out.
Would that have been? I'm unaware of it. I mean,
watch.
We're in the game of politics. That means that we have discussions all the time behind the scenes about how to pragmatically handle all the things that are happening behind the scenes. Are those conversations that Charlie and I had? Of course. Are those conversations that ever got fraught and angry? No, not one bit.
Not one bit. Okay.
You may be one of, if not the only other, most threatened conservative commentator ever. Have you had to have these preparation type conversations with your own wife?
1,000 times. Yes.
1,000 times. Yes. Let me see. I'm making sure he didn't say the part where he referenced that interview. I hope I didn't skip over it at the 4:36 mark. It's probably in one of the further timestamps, but let me make sure.
My wife, unfortunately, is quite used to this, and so are my kids. I have 4 kids. They 11, 9, 5, and 2. And they do not know what it's like to live without 24/7 security. They've been
okay. So this is going to be interesting because he's going to say some things about what podcasters and public figures' life was like before this assassination and now after, and that Charlie's assassination is the thing that changed that. No, what should have changed that was the Butler event, because Trump, based on the official narrative, was attempted to be assassinated for his opinions, for his political stance, for speaking, right? And so, no. And it's a way of him trying to negate that the security team of Charlie Kirk should have already, prior to September 10th, been planning and had that in mind when going to the UVU event. So it was like another way of him trying to be like, no, we didn't really think this way until after Charlie Kirk's assassination.
living with it their entire life, essentially. And so, honestly, like for them, it's kind of normal, and they play lightsabers with the security guards and everything. But obviously, in the aftermath of what happened, security went into even higher gear, and don't go out to dinner, don't go into public spaces, all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who's felt that, but I knew that Charlie was taking risk, by doing the right thing. And that's the nature of what Charlie wanted to do. He knew he couldn't do what he needed to do unless he put himself at a certain amount of physical risk. And he was incredibly brave for doing all of that.
One of the first things I said, I'm just like angry and sobbing and in tears. And I said to Colvette, I said, why was he allowed to be outside after Trump's assassination attempt? Why wasn't he wearing a bulletproof vest? And he said, we tried. He didn't want to do it. Like, there were talks of, hey, when we do these campus tours, we probably need to be indoors, all that. And he said, no.
That's it.
So a couple things there. It shows that even just a young female civilian looked at that event and was like, after Butler, why was this event allowed to be held like this? And if Charlie insisted on being outdoors, why didn't they insist on certain precautions? Okay, like, no, insist. Because the security team has to like guarantee safety, right? That's their job, right? They have to guarantee that they can, provide security to him and keep him alive and safe by doing and, actuating their security plan. Okay. And they have insurance, which will, in the event of something, as long as they do what they should have done, protect them, right? From any wrongful death lawsuit, which is weird because Erika Kirk didn't file that. They know that roofs, right? And Frank Turk, there's too many roofs, Charlie. Charlie's like, okay. Charlie knew that the Butler PA thing was a load of BS, and guarantee you, I think the security team, in my opinion, assured him that all roofs were covered. All the roofs were covered, and that he had nothing to be concerned about, that it was all taken care of. Because after Butler, PA, there's no way you can be someone like Charlie and do a public outdoor event where there are roofs where potential shooters can be, and be as smart as Charlie and not be aware of that and be concerned about that. There's just no way. So there's no way that he would have got out there and done that event without them assuring him that that part of the security plan was taken care of. And so this is also them trying to put blame on Charlie. Like, no, Charlie was aware of the danger. Charlie just was so brave. Charlie just had so much faith. Charlie just was so stubborn. Charlie was just so proud, which all those things are true, but not to the point where he would completely negate his safety. It's Charlie's fault. That's what they are alluding to. It's Charlie's fault. We tried everything. Charlie insisted.
Decision that he wanted to make because he felt like he wanted to be with the crowd, right?
Yes.
He wanted to do that. And that is a decision.
No, Charlie wanted to be with his kids more than anything. He wanted to be an American. He wanted to have impact. He wanted to bring people to Christ. He wanted to preach the gospel. He wanted to save this country. He wanted to raise Genevieve and Mac. He wanted to be there. He wanted to be alive more than anything.
Obviously, I used to do a lot of campus events.
No.
The campus events that I traditionally do are indoors, and they do require more security. And there have been situations like back in 2017, I believe, when I spoke at Berkeley, that they had to have something like 500 police officers. And I was wearing a bulletproof vest at the behest of my security. And I remember saying to my security, do I need a bulletproof vest? Like, why? I remember actively saying to my security, this is ridiculous. Nobody's going to shoot me for saying political things. And I think that, to be in this business and to do what Charlie did, I think there's a baseline assumption. I think this is what got shattered for the country. There was a baseline assumption in this country. You do not get shot to death for having political debate with the people you disagree with. You don't.
Well, that's not true, because it already happened to Trump. So it wasn't Charlie's assassination that really made that obvious. It was Butler, right? And yes, we don't believe the official story, and obviously there's an ulterior motive if Israel was really behind it, who we do think they are, but he's the one spouting the official FedSop narrative for both, right? For both assassination attempt on Trump and the actual assassination on Charlie. So in his own logic, he has to defend it from that point, and he can't. He knows that no, that would have changed after after Butler.
Don't do that. And I know I operated along those lines.
I bet you did.
I know Charlie operated along those lines because he was in the same business. And that's what I think is so shocking and horrifying about this, not just obviously most of all for his family, but for the entire country, is that we live in a new world where, yes, you very well could be shot and murdered for your political beliefs and for debating those in an open space.
You recently said that you're going to get back out there. You're going to go on some college tours. Are you scared?
No. I mean, again, I've always operated under the assumption that everything's going to be fine, because it would be hard to operate in the world without that. You couldn't exit. And well, the reason that I said that is because there had been a rumor that was promulgated immediately after Charlie's shooting that I'd canceled a college tour, which is not true. There was no college tour actually planned. And so I said, like, that's ridiculous. Everybody needs to go out and pick up Charlie's bloodstained microphone.
How gross is that? So he's the one that said that just like the day after Charlie's assassination. All he had to say was everyone should carry the obligation and the responsibility to pick up the mic that Charlie left behind, right? That Charlie dropped that day, right? That was stolen from Charlie on September 10th. He doesn't have to say this, I can't think of the word right now, but it has so much more shock and awe, that blood-stained microphone. It's so gross, right? And what's interesting is I wonder whose idea it was to create this new campus event in the wake of Charlie's assassination that's titled Pick Up the Mic. Ben's the first one to say that statement, pick up the bloodstained mic. And then TPUSA comes out with this whole new, campus thing, pick up the mic for Charlie Kirk thing, pick up the mic, Cabot Phillips, pick up the mic, Blake Neff and Jack Posobiec. I don't think it's an accident. I don't believe in coincidences like Erika Kirk.
The internet, of course, immediately decided that's not what I had said, but if you actually go and watch it, I say we. I use the plural pronoun we, because we all have to do that. No one is capable of filling Charlie's shoes. No one.
Yeah, we know that.
I'm not capable of it. No one's capable of it. It's silly to even argue about it. Everybody needs to do their bit. Charlie was a giant. He was iconic in the movement. It's funny for me to say this about someone 10 years younger than I am, but Charlie was. He was an icon of the movement, and it's not possible, and no one should even try to replace Charlie Kirk.
Don't you even try. That was cracking, but don't you even try. Gosh, man, he's so annoying. We're not going to listen to him much longer. Hold on. I had it at 8:47 where she asked, are you taking over Turning Point USA? But we just passed that and I didn't hear it. Hold on. Does she ask?
I mean, again, I've always operated under the assumption that everything's going to be.
Okay, so it must be 9:47. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, it's right here.
Truly. As soon as Charlie was shot, he was iconic in the movement. It's funny for me to say this about someone 10 years younger than I am, but Charlie was. He was an icon of the movement, and it's not possible, and no one should even try to replace Charlie Kirk or do what Charlie was doing. It's not possible. We all have to go out and do those things.
Are you taking over Turning Point USA?
That is the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard in my entire life. Truly. As soon as Charlie was shot.
Well, we know that he's not taking over in the sense like he's going to be the new CEO and he's going to be the, like running Charlie Kirk show. Like, obviously not. Like, I think what people have posited is that he's like subversively taking over Turning Point, right? Erika's obviously the CEO, right? And Andrew Colvett is the new head of the Charlie Kirk show, but he infused Turning Point with millions of dollars right away. And then he offered all of his services and resources to Turning Point for whatever they need. Okay. And they're owned by Israel, both of them, Daily Wire and Turning Point, 100%.
We reached out to Andrew.
There it is.
And to the rest of the team here. And we said, what do you need?
Mm-hmm.
Let us put everything at your disposal.
Yeah.
Literally everything.
Literally everything at your disposal. That means the offer from Bibi to infuse $180 million is also offered anything at your disposal.
Like we put our talent at the disposal of TPUSA. We put our support staff at the disposal of TPUSA. We put monetary resources behind TPUSA because we believe in what Charlie believed in, and we believe in what TPUSA does and is going to continue to do on into the future.
I agree that he believes in what TPUSA is going to do on into the future. Now that Andrew Colvett and Erika Kirk are running Turning Point USA. Yes. Now that the donors came back in the picture that left and when Charlie was still running the organization. Yeah. Yeah.
This is an incredibly stupid and bad place.
I know.
And again, people need to touch some grass.
Does this change anything for?
So who else says that statement? People say things, and I know that's like a common thing, but like Erika Kirk says that statement, you need to go touch grass all the time. Okay. To me, it shows that they're connected in a deeper way. And that they're in the same groups and, subculture. And I just have this feeling that Erika, Andrew, and Ben Shapiro are like this because all three of them say that a lot. You need to go touch grass, all three of them. And I don't think that's an accident.
Policy or procedure at the Daily Wire?
In terms of security procedure, we already had unbelievably high.
Yeah, I bet you did. Yeah, I bet you did. Let me go to the next talking point of Ben. Where's 11? Hopefully it's right there.
Having when he was shot. Charlie specifically went out there and said something that those of us in the industry who've been doing this for a while said for a long time. If you disagree, go to the front of the line. Right? Disagree front of the line. We need to have those conversations. We need to have those discussions. It's why millions of people became conservative because of Charlie. They weren't conservative before. They became conservative because Charlie was talking to them.
Yeah. I don't believe that he allows people to come to the front of the line that disagree. He literally fired and tried to destroy Candace's life and Brett Cooper's life for disagreeing. Okay. Erika Kirk and Andrew Colvett all do not allow any dissenting ideas anymore. At all their events, they hijack the Q&A portion. They put TPUSA people and specific people up front with already pre-written questions. And then when those 5 people are done, they cut the Q&A portion done. Okay. And no one is showing up to these campus events anymore to ask any person that they put out there as any kind of replacement for Charlie, because we already know what their talking points are going to be. We already know what their positions are going to be. It's the same as Ben, the same as Bibi, the same as Andrew, the same as Erika. Israel. Okay. No one's coming to ask you anything anymore. We already know the answer. It's total BS. Let me go to the next one. It's at, yeah, here we go. 1245.
And I got texts from people and calls from people who radically disagree with me on politics. People who would be considered traditionally liberal, who were devastated at Charlie's death because of, and that's a testament to Charlie.
I actually believe he did get calls and texts from the people that didn't agree with Charlie, but I don't think they called him to say like how tragic they thought this was. I think it was like, good job, Ben. Good job. Job well done. You did it. You played your part, in my opinion.
It wasn't just the right that rose up in a cry of hurt and pain and anguish and rage. It was a bunch of people who either used to disagree with Charlie or still on some matters disagree with Charlie. And that's a testament to the breadth of his reach and his capacity for conversation.
I have to ask you,
There it is.
what do you think about the rumors that Charlie was scared for his life, wondering if Israel was going to allegedly take him out before he died?
I think there's a game that gets played online. Make a allegation. I use that word advisedly. And then when a bunch of people push back, you say, you see, they've now taken the allegation seriously enough to deny it.
No one's actually ever made that claim, that because you guys have tried to retort the, claim, that it's proof that the claim is true.
There's not one iota of evidence that that's true. No.
We know that's not true. Okay. We know that there's actually growing and mounting incredible evidence that that claim is true.
Not one. I was not at the meeting in the Hamptons with Bill Ackman. I have friends who were at the meeting with Bill Ackman, right? People like Josh Hammer, for example, or Seth Dillon.
Both people that have lied, been caught completely lying about the Hamptons retreat. Okay. And then we found out from Rabbi Wolicki, and we found out from, Seth Dillon, that it was combative, confrontational. They were putting pressure on on Charlie at the Hamptons meeting and on that Zoom call the night before. Both have been described as combative.
I know that they've been invited by Charlie, and they've spoken pretty publicly, I believe, about what it was that went down. Bill Ackman
lied.
Has spoken pretty publicly. First of all, the notion that Charlie would be, quote unquote, blackmailed into taking a position.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that Charlie was blackmailed. Charlie was being threatened. He was being threatened to lose Turning Point. His baby, one of his babies, not his actual children, but like he put his last 13 years of his life, his blood, sweat, and toil into this organization to make it what it was. And it was successful. It helped make the difference in the election for Donald Trump. And now he's being threatened that if you don't bend the knee and don't just get up there and read these talking points, we're taking the money out, we're going elsewhere, and we'll destroy your organization. We know he couldn't be blackmailed. We know he couldn't be bought. He was being threatened.
Is just unbelievably silly. The people who are spreading these rumors, they're agents of demoralization. They're trying to split the movement.
So Joe Kent, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, and all of us.
They're trying to smear Charlie's legacy.
No, we're not.
I mean, Charlie was two things. He was a principled man who argued in public, and he was also a coalition builder. Coalition building is a very difficult business.
Mm-hmm.
It's a business where you have to hold together a bunch of people who disagree on a bunch of different areas. And there can be real, as I said before, disagreements behind the scenes about how to handle those sort of pragmatic matters of building a coalition. But this notion somehow that Charlie, for example, was radically shifting on Israel, and suddenly he was going to turn into a fan of Hamas.
Nobody said. See, do you hear? It's like this false dichotomy again. It's not one of those, okay, like either or, but like, yes, he was turning on Israel. No, he wasn't becoming a supporter of Hamas. Okay. And he said that about Tucker. Like, no, that's not what Charlie was doing. But he was not supporting Israel. He was not supporting Bibi. He was speaking out against it 100%. Okay. But no, we weren't. None of us are supporting Hamas or defending Hamas. It's such BS. All right, let's go to the next thing. Let me see. All right, we need a little bit of a laugh for a second. All right, because I got Frank Turek as well coming up. All right, so this is Dana Loesch. What you're going to see is there's these two false Christians that go on this Hammer podcast, who I'm pretty sure this guy's a Jewish dude, and I wonder if he's related to the Hammers, like Army Hammer, the family that helped start and form the Diamond District in New York after all the looting from all the Christians during the Bolshevik Revolution. So on this podcast, he chooses to have these two people on who claim to be Christians, who claim to be Candace Owens supporters, and then they go and say the most insane and stupid and crazy things. And then Dana's going to say, like, see, this is all of Candace supporters. This is how stupid they are. This is how crazy they are. This is how insane they are. No, these people do not represent us at all. I don't even think they're Christian. And you'll see this gentleman wearing the cross. It shows you that, like, people are just wearing the cross because they think it's like fetch. You know what I mean? Like they just think it's like cool. Like that one girl on the whatever podcast, she's wearing a cross, but then she's got a shirt that says raised in hell or something. And she's like an OnlyFans girl. And Candace was like, why are you wearing a cross? And she's like, because I think it's cute. Like, and that's Erika's, my personal belief of why Erika wears things, not because she believes in what they symbolize, but because she thinks that they're cute. Well, and because she's like presenting this false persona of herself as a Christian. And she says, what you do, Charlie, you're a Christian. Why don't you wear a cross? Because that's not how people tell that you're a Christian, because you wear a cross and jewelry. That's not how people tell. It's how you act, how you treat others, how you behave. That's how people know if you're Christian, what you say, what you do, your fruit. That's how people know if you're Christian, not some stupid cross. These people were intentionally brought out here on this podcast to make us all look crazy so that Dana could do what she does right here.
Next
They.
Oh, I gotta,
that's the,
hold on. Let me. Yeah, no, this is where it starts. Okay.
the cover up people.
That's the average Candyland listener.
Oh, I got to back up. Hold on. Where does it start? Candace Cult Expose. Where does it start? I think, oh my gosh, where I had it, it wasn't. All right, let's see.
Able to get to this whole clip because we'll all feel like we're drunk without.
Oh, that's right. This is the whole thing. Okay. And then we're going to actually look at the clip on the show.
Having had a drop of liquor. This is cut 15.
So there's theories. Okay, so he can either his wife, Erika Kirk, was in on it, or
I do
like
believe
in on
that.
the conspiracy, and she's in hiding with
So we
him.
got some Candace watchers.
Or yes, 100%.
Okay,
We know.
Okay.
We know. Okay,
We know.
Okay.
but we
think.
don't know.
So they're going to do these things on purpose to try to act like they actually are part of us. It's so gross.
We
Think.
don't know, but we know.
It's called a think, not a no.
No, we know. So, so either his wife, because she's got ties to child trafficking.
What?
She does.
Based off of.
Based off of the work she did with children. She was kicked out of, what was the country? She was kicked out of the country for it.
She misrepresents everything. And it shows that, number one, she's stupid. And number two, she doesn't actually watch Candace. And number three, she doesn't actually know the positions and the allegations that have been made against her by Candace and us, right? She doesn't even know the country. She can't even properly represent the arguments.
Right. Yeah. So
It's not country.
You got to know this, dog.
it was like Slavia.
Slavia?
Where is it? Where is it? What was the
Slovenia?
country? No, there was a country that she did like
Ukraine?
Was it Ukraine? No, it wasn't Ukraine. She did. Don't look at me like that. I'm legit.
I
Like
mean, we just name all the
legit.
I'm just waiting
Eastern-
to get
I know.
or
I'm
something.
trying to remember the country, but she was kicked
the
out of the
Republic of
country. She was
Slavia.
doing like adoption work for little kids that don't have parents, and they were going missing, and so she was kicked out of the country.
So Erika Kirk, you're saying,
I'm alleging
you're alleging, is a child ringleader,
she's
Okay.
she's in on it.
and Charlie didn't
So,
die because
possibly.
of that?
No, so she's okay. So she's was basically his handler, and either
Okay.
there's two different theories. Okay, so either she was his handler, he found out about all her bull.
Aren't they just like a classic Christian couple like y'all? Oh,
Everybody thinks.
Aren't they just a classic Christian couple like y'all? These two are not a classic Christian couple at all. At all. They're fake. They're phony. Okay. They went on the show to do exactly what they're doing so that everyone on TPUSA's side and Dana Loesch and, all the talking heads could come out and say, see, look, this is Candy Colt's fan base. This is the average viewer.
So
Isn't that kind of what he was preaching?
well in the video where he's being shot, it wasn't actually him. It was a hologram.
Oh.
There was a trap door. There was a trap door, and
But you don't actually believe this. You're just having fun with this.
No, I believe this. I believe one of two theories. That's one of the theories. I don't believe he's actually dead.
Okay. And the other theory would be
There you go. We're going to keep listening, but so now you know for sure fake deathers, very, very bad intentions, not good at all. I just can't, right? And people know that. People know that, and they're taking advantage of that side of this investigation online. Okay. And using it to their advantage. And it's,
Well, I've got.
Well, now I understand why you guys can't talk about things, because you guys are like scary with your
Talking about the
brains.
trap door that you think
Well,
so.
so yeah, the door. There was a trap door. They covered the trap door up after, like, right either that night or the
Who's
next day.
they?
I don't. That's the cover up people.
That's the average Candyland listener.
no, it's not. We are the average Candace listener. I'm not even going to repeat that. We are the average Candace Owens listener. Okay. Smarter than you, more articulate than you, can actually defend our positions better than you. These people are fake. They're frauds. They're disgusting.
Right there. It's all these like basic B's that are trying to act like we're not racist. We listen to a black podcaster. Look, that's them. It's the cover up people. I know she got kicked out of the country because she's trying to find, there were kids that had no parents. None of that's true. None of that is even remotely demonstrably true. That is so ridiculously, egregiously insane.
Can you actually prove that and well, obviously the way that she formed those arguments are not true, but the parts that are true, right? In Romania, Romanian Angels, the partnering with the Marine Corps, the general that got booted, right? For what he was doing over there. That's true. Can you disprove the actual real claims that Candace has put forth? No, you can't.
And they were sitting over there. There was a lot more to that video because they were like, yeah, the Nazis aren't so bad. With this guy, the big cross on his neck. Yeah, Nazis aren't so bad. Oh my.
Yep. They're not real Christians. Not real Christians. Okay. All right. Let's go here. All right. I found this video of Frank Turd Turkey. Let's hear what he has to say.
Months ago today, when you heard Charlie had been shot. You know where you were and you know what you were doing, because that is a life-changing event.
Except for JD Vance. If you guys remember, when JD Vance was with Andrew Colvette in Georgia, JD goes, oh, you know, that day back when that happened, when was that? And then Andrew tells him, and he goes, oh, yes, it was the day before September 11th. He doesn't even remember it for the date itself, because it was Charlie Kirk's assassination, and everyone knows who actually were Charlie's friends, exactly where they were when they found out. And now September 10th holds its own significance in our minds, our memories, and our hearts, not because it comes before September 11th, because it is a standalone, horrible, traumatic day in itself. I don't remember Charlie's assassination because it came before September 11th. I almost don't even remember September 11th the same anymore, because September 10th is, in my opinion, a new, more significant modern version of a day that all of our lives changed. You know? It's insane.
As we were driving over to the venue that morning, Charlie got some footage, drone footage, over.
Oh, so it was drone footage. Charlie got the drone footage. Okay. All right.
The university. It was about an hour before we were supposed to start, and he said, hey, take a look at this. There were thousands of people there an hour in advance. And I said to him, Charlie, I don't like this. There's too many buildings around here.
Oh.
But he just shrugged it off.
Oh, yeah.
Because Charlie knew that in order to love people, you have to make yourself somewhat vulnerable.
Okay. Yes. Not put your life in. Here's the thing, though. Like, so Frank puts forth this version of himself that's smarter than Charlie, right? That's smarter than security team. The security team wasn't worried about the roofs, wasn't worried about the buildings. The security team wasn't thinking about CPR. The security team didn't think about what to do in the car, and they needed Frank to tell them. If Frank was actually concerned about all of those roofs, why didn't he look to Dan and Brian, who Dan for sure would have been in the car? Why didn't he look to Dan and go, do you guys have all the roofs covered? Not the stupid Hall of Flags and the stupid rocks. Do you have those roofs at a distance where an actual shooter could shoot from, like Butler? Do you got that taken care of? No, he didn't. I don't even know that Frank even said this to Charlie. It's convenient for him to say that he pointed that out and that, oh, Charlie just was so brave and courageous. He goes, no, I trust my security team. No one's going to do anything. Oh, yeah, but Frank is one of the people that the night before the assassination, Charlie sent the text, they're going to kill me. He sent it to Frank, Andrew, and Dan Flood. Let me make sure I'm caught up on the super chats we got. Always be true. Thank you so much for your super chat. They are not real people. What am I watching? What is that supposed to be for real? Is it Timu reality TV? Yeah, so that guy is a total shill for Israel. He's a total shill for the left, and he did that intentionally to help, give content to like Dana Loesch and TPUSA and, Paramount Tactical and Graham Allen and Aaron Milan and all these people to be like, see, look how crazy, look how stupid, look how insane all of those people are. They're all just like this. They're all just like these two stupid idiots. That's what it was for. That's the purpose it served.
You can't be completely secure all the time. And so Charlie said, we're going through with this. And I'll never forget when we were walking in, and it was a Trump rally times 2. I mean, people were screaming. They were just cheering, USA, USA. You've seen some of the video. And he kind of looked over and he said, welcome to the big leagues.
Yeah, welcome, you freaking scumbag. Anyone watching Candace Owens knows Charlie Kirk is dead. Whoops. Yep. Here's the thing too. So for those of you that don't know, the full photo that Candace released in part and Barron released in part, that photo actually shows Charlie Kirk's face. Okay. And it proves, everyone that's seen that photo has said that it proves Charlie Kirk is dead. Okay. That they can tell by looking at the photo and that his eyes are open, but they're just not, he's not there. Okay. And that it's a very gruesome photo. And that's why Barron didn't want to and hasn't, and Candace hasn't released it in full. And the same reason why supposedly, I don't know his intention, but his statement, George McClintock Wilson, is why he didn't share it. And Brandy and Billy, who interviewed him, also said it proves that. It proves that. And so, I mean, to me, that begs the question then, like, so, like, we know for a fact, I trust Candace for sure, and know for a fact that she knows for a fact that Charlie is dead. And I mean, I didn't need that as proof, but like, I wish people that are connected to and associated with and collab with those fake deathers who have seen that photo would do more and say more to put that to rest once and for all. That whole thing does so much more damage than good.
And he started tossing hats, and Angel back here gave me a row of hats. And so I was like, okay, I start tossing hats. We're tossing hats. And then Charlie sits down to start answering questions. And someone said, I think it was Angel, he said, hey, do you want a hat? I said, yeah, I guess it's kind of hot. I'll put a hat on. And somehow that meant I was signaling the shooter later. You may.
So he just lied. He just lied. You can go back and watch the video. It's on X, the UVU review video. Frank Turk had the hat on for minutes before the actual behavior that we interpret as the beginning of the signs. Okay. It's not when he puts it on and he hands his has his hand on his bill. No one interpreted that as the sign, because remember, Frank gets the hat before, what's the guy's name? The first questioner, the first person that, he had like tan skin. He's a Mormon and he asked LDS questions. Gosh, I forget his name. That person's at the mic talking with Charlie for minutes. Frank had his hat on for many, many minutes before Hunter Kozak comes up to the mic. And Hunter Kozak is at the mic for a couple, like a minute or so or two, I don't know the exact amount of time, before he even asks the final question. And it's right before the final question gets uttered when Hunter Kozak looks over at Brian Harple and touches his glasses, signaling, in my opinion, that the final question is about to be uttered. That is the very beginning of the signals. Then Frank goes like this. He grabs his cheek. He doesn't like itch his cheek. He literally pinches it, which is a signal. And then he grabs his hat and goes like this. He doesn't reposition it. He doesn't like fix it. He just grabs it and goes like this. Then Dan steps forward and shakes out his arm and smacks his bicep. There was no readjusting of his shirt. There's no actual functional purpose for that to happen, that behavior to happen, for Dan to take a step forward, to be seen by more people that are part of this, that the big bang is coming, so that Brian could see him out of the peripheral, right? Dan takes a step forward, throws his arm out in front, shakes it, pats it so that Brian can see it, in my opinion, so that Brian could then trigger the device, in my opinion. So Dan lies right there. So everyone wondering, like, what did Frank do? What hasn't Frank done? He's a lying piece of work, okay? Let me get to these two that just popped up. We have Cynthia Lucas Moore. Good to see you, Cynthia. This is Turkic, making up lies. Charlie didn't have a chance to live. Charlie was forced into this event, and I'm deeply saddened. I pray that Tyler Robinson to be set free from these monsters. Yeah, me too. Me too. All right, and we have be nice to animals. Yes. Oh, is that your dog? It looks like a Chihuahua mix with maybe a Dachshund. We had a, what is it? A Chiweenie. We had a Chiweenie when we were first married. His name was Yogi. He was really cute. I swear, in that clip, when Frank Turek said the first, said the first Charlie knew, he was gonna say he was protected. He stopped his own word vomit lip service. Oh, interesting. Oh, when he was saying that Charlie knew, like going in to the event, when he was talking about that, I didn't catch that. I'll at a later date, like after this, I'll go back and rewatch that and see if, yeah, you totally probably picked up on Frank almost having like a Freudian slip, right?
Seen that crazy conspiracy theory out there? Absolute madness, because we all know somebody had to signal the shooter to say, hey, that's Charlie over there.
So that's kind of like a straw man argument, right? Like they're not fully representing the argument. The argument is not that you signaled Tyler Robinson, right? Or that you signaled another shooter, okay? And they know that. They know that's not been the argument. That's not our allegation or our position. Our position is that Hunter Kozak signals first, looks at Brian, okay? Frank sees that. Frank does the cheek, the hat. Dan does the step forward, the arm shake, the bicep pat, and then it triggers Brian Harple to see him out of the peripheral and then to trigger the device. That's at least my position as of now. Other people believe that a round was fired and that the round triggered. So John Bray believes that the round not fired by Tyler, not from the Losi Center, but some other roof in a near location, 130 feet or yards or whatever, that a bullet was fired, and that he could hear in the analysis of the audio the crack bang, the mock cone, and the N wave, and that this is the only way to have triggered the device as quickly as needed to match the sound of the rifle and the explosion timing together, so that there wasn't this lag or delay, and that we would visually be able to associate the bang and the actual damage to Charlie. I don't have enough expertise to say that that's 100% what I believe. It's possible. I think it's maybe too many moving parts, in my opinion, but it definitely seems to me that the security team was doing a lot of things that all were sequential and like a domino, which led to, the audio video feedback issues that Terrell Farnsworth and Philip Goldsberry were clearly saying was happening when they look over at Dan Flood and say, we're having issues, when we can all hear the audio issues. And then Terrell comes over, tells Charlie to move the mic from the right over to the left and set it on that side of the table. Dan, when, Philip tells Dan that there's issues with the audio, just before that had happened, Brian Harple had gone in his pocket and looks to have armored and, activated the device, which then would have been sending signals, which then would have been, interacting and interfering with the audio equipment there and the speakers and caused the feedback issues. And then when Dan hears him say that there's issues, he calls Brian over. Brian comes over and Dan's telling him because Dan's pointing over to Terrell and Philip, he's relaying it to Brian Harple, what Philip just said, that whatever you just did in your pocket, which they all know what they just did, because they're, in my opinion, that they're in on it together, and that what he just did in his pocket started interfering with the audio equipment and the speakers, and he needs to undo it, because right after Dan relays this information to Brian goes back into that same front right pocket and turns it off. You see him pull it up and then he twists it off, and then the audio issues stop. Brian then, when he walks away, messes with his glasses, looks at Terrell and Philip and is pissed that all that just got captured on camera, walks back to his spot on the X and stands there, is like this, until what's his name, Hunter Kozak, comes up. That's when he goes back in his pocket and turns it back on, in my opinion. Then he goes back to the position here where it looks like right when Hunter Kozak signals that the question's coming, that's when we can start to see a squeezing of whatever is underneath Brian's shirt, and then the detonation right when, the big bang is heard. Thank you for becoming a member, Ironic Irony. Welcome to the team.
The internet is crazy, ladies and gentlemen. And when that shot rang out and we got him in the car, his eyes were fixed. He wasn't looking at me. He was looking
straight to eternity, right? He was absent with the body, present with Christ. Frank, from day one, has a script of what he was allowed and told to say. Okay. He goes off script a couple times, but for the most part, he regurgitates the same exact verbatim statements every time, right? Every single time. And I've pointed that out every time. Erika does the same thing. People don't talk like that. People don't go to separate events and separate appearances on shows and on their own retelling from their memory, retell the event verbatim, word for word. That's just not how it happens. It is when you're lying and you have to stick to a script.
right past me into eternity.
There it is.
He was absent from the body, present with the Lord.
There it is.
But
I literally know everything these people have said, and I'm telling you, it's all scripted. They're all acting. It's crazy.
But of course, we had to try to do everything we could to save him. And I'm
You did?
telling you, his security team was amazing. And those gentlemen are here tonight. There's one of them. There's Justin right there.
Justin was the guy driving.
Brian is back there.
Brian Harple's back there. He hadn't been fired yet. So this is just after the event of September 10th.
Dan was there. Rick was there.
Rick Cutler, Dan Flood. Yep. Dan Flood got a raise, promotion. Yep.
They did what they were supposed to do. And when this
No, the majority of the job that they're supposed to do is preparatory work. Okay. It precedes the public event. Okay. If they actually did their job, what they were supposed to do, they wouldn't have had to do anything on the day of September 10th. Okay. All of the real work that's done by the Secret Service when it comes to protecting Trump in public events or personal protective security details, the real work is in preparation for an event. It's when you go ahead of the event, go ahead of the person you're protecting, and you walk the grounds completely, and you develop an actual security plan that keeps him alive and out of danger. If you actually did their job that day, they wouldn't have had to do anything on September 10th. The job comes before the event. The work and preparation comes before the actual event. The fact that they had to do anything that they did that day proves they didn't do their job. That's what it proves. And anyone with a brain knows that. Punish with truth. I like that. That's a good handle. Welcome to the team. I appreciate your support, and thank you for becoming a member today.
Investigation's over and all this conspiracy nonsense is over, you're going to see that they did their job and they did it well. It wasn't...
No, actually, with every day that goes on, we are more sure that they did not do their job, and they did nothing well. They didn't even do the life-saving part well. And in fact, they intentionally, in my opinion, didn't render aid on the X, on the ground, in the car. What hospital they took him to, what they did or didn't do in the car, what Brian did or didn't do upon arrival into the hospital. Nothing they did was correct. Nothing.
It wasn't their jurisdiction. It wasn't their jurisdiction to handle the roofs.
Ask yourself this. Why is it anyone's job? Okay, so Frank does work for TPUSA. He's on staff. Okay, he's paid. All right. He's actually one of the main ones that was brought as a replacement for Charlie. He's the one that he went to all the campuses after Charlie was assassinated for the nighttime events, the indoor events, where people go through magnetometer sensors, where people get patted down, where people they had a limited amount of audience space. So they knew exactly how many people were there. They could have eyes on everybody. They could control the environment completely. Of course, they do that for Frank, not for Charlie. Frank is the person that has been put out as the replacement for Charlie Kirk. And he's failed miserably at it. He yells at college students that ask questions. He loses his patience and his cool. He can't even answer hard, difficult questions. But ask yourself, why was Frank delegated with the responsibility of defending the security team? Why is he dedicating any part of his campus event to the retelling of the events that day, justifying their actions and the security team's actions and behavior, and defending everything they did that day, and then putting forth that the official narrative is the truth and are the facts, and Tyler did it, it was a lone gunman, and that's just the way it is? Why is TPUSA putting Frank out there to do that? Controlling a narrative. Pushing part of the PSYOP. It should have nothing to do with his campus event. It has nothing to do with informing college students It has nothing to do with what Charlie was doing before the assassination. It has taken on a completely new meaning and purpose. It's Erika's blessing.
That was someone else, and they blew it.
So now he's blaming Chief Long and the UVU police. Like, once again, nope, that's not their job. UVU campus police's job was to give overall protective security for everybody there, for the entire event and the campus. Any specific concerns and issues that the security team was supposed to identify in their preparatory work should have been brought to Chief Long themselves, or they should have just covered it themselves. Integrity Security Solutions, which is Brian Harple and Dan Flood's team. They could have just put someone up there. They could have just taken a drone off campus and flown it over the event. They could have just had someone at the bottom of the staircase that walked up to the roof. Okay, fine. You couldn't put someone on the roof. Put someone on the staircase. The staircase that Eagle Boy walked up to then get onto the Losi Center roof. They could have just put someone on that staircase at the bottom. Why didn't they do that? Why didn't they just put someone at the access points to these potential shooting positions on the potential roofs? Okay. They didn't do their job. Why didn't Dan Flood and Brian Harple tell Chief Long that they wanted someone on all of those roofs at a distance? They didn't do that. They asked for one thing, for the Hall of Flags roof to be sectioned off, which Chief Long did, designated a temporary criminal no trespass zone, and they put one cop and one security guard up there. Their concern, rocks. They didn't do their job that day. Not at all.
It was Butler, PA all over again. But as we sit here, we're kind of asking ourselves, well, some say that God spared President Trump. Why didn't he spare Charlie Kirk? Maybe because there is no God, some will say. Why would he allow such an evil thing to occur? Does evil mean there is no God? Well, actually, the exact opposite is true.
All right. This is just a full-on BS lie. All right, let's go to Erin Marlan, total shill. So this woman just bothers me to no end. She's equally as bad as Dana Loesch. She's like best friends with Josh Hammer, Ben Shapiro, and Rabbi Wolicki. Go look at her video history in her Honor channel and just see who she has on. Check out all of her positions. She's constantly defending Erika and TPUSA. She's constantly defending Israel and Josh Hammer, Ben Shapiro, Bibi Netanyahu, Rabbi Wolicki. She's constantly attacking Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. It's not hard to know where her support and her financial support and backing comes from. Citizens and people in Australia email me all the time that she's a failed TV personality that ruined one of the most popular shows that was on Australian TV for like decades. And then they put her on there and she destroyed it like first season. Okay. She's hated in Australia. Hated. Okay. But she's a blonde, white, face that'll get out there and do anything for money, in my opinion. Shill for Israel every day. Every day.
With 2 babies to raise, but is being subjected to this absolute insanity day in, day out. Who else? Candace, go.
I think the happiest we ever saw Erika was when she walked out to that stadium on September 21st, and the whole world was with her because she thought she had it made. She's been struggling to come up for air since, and I want to be very clear. It is the most important thing to me that no harm comes to Erika.
I agree.
The most important thing.
I agree.
The message. Investigating this, she's getting death threats. No, let's be very clear on my intention in this investigation. I want Erika to outlive everyone.
Agreed.
I long live
Erika
Franzwey.
Yes.
Death is easy, actually. Death is easy. Living a long life when everybody knows who and what you are a part of and what you did. Long live Erika Franzwey.
Death is easy,
It is.
she says.
It is.
What a grotesque thing to say to a widow who watched her husband die
Who watched her husband die in what? In what, Aaron?
in real time
Lie.
after a bullet entered his neck.
No, so she got to put forth the official FedSlop BS. Let's see if anyone responded to my reply yet. You do realize that you knowingly just lied to your audience. Erika never watched the video of Charlie being assassinated. She didn't watch it live in real time. And Andrew Colvett and Erika have both stated multiple times she hasn't seen and will never watch it. What? Why do you lie, Aaron? Why do you lie? No one's replied to it yet. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I'll give myself a thumbs up. No one's replied to it yet. Wait, let me see. Maybe it's because I had this up. So what timestamp am I at? I'm at 8:19. Let me hit refresh. Let's see if it's there now.
Who and what you are and what you are.
Okay, 8:19. Let me go back to 8:19. 8:19. Now let me see if someone responded. Nope, no one's responded to it. What do you know? What do you know? Nope, no one's responded to it. Of course not. I just got another. Let me read this. We have Tim Johnstone. Please debate Wilson. You know so much, mate. Hate. Oh, do you guys want me to show you something? Andrew agreed to debate me. He agreed. Okay. And then he tried to back out. He said, just send me the debate prompt. I'll show it to you guys on X. He agreed to debate me, Andrew Wilson. He asked me for the debate prompt. Then he tried to argue my debate prompt. Then I destroyed him in the arguing on X of the debate prompt. And then he backed out. And then I saw that he started agreeing to other debates. And I posted on X and I was like, what are you doing, bro? You said you were going to debate me. And then he's like, who are you? And I'm like, shut up, bro. You know who I am. You went back and forth with me like 10 times on X. You know who I am. You agreed to debate me. And then he just ghosted me. Same thing with Gary Melton. Same thing with Lisa Knows. I reached out to all these individuals and asked them to debate me. They've all blocked me. Okay, Andrew hasn't blocked me. Gary blocked me. Notice that he didn't block someone else that he just had on his show recently. Okay, a fake deather. Okay, Lisa Knows blocked me. All right, these people know who to have on their show and who not to have on their show. Okay, real people that can actually defend this position and this side and the real argument, and any argument that actually shores up their position they'll have on their show, like fake deathers. Okay, he knows he'll lose. Gary will lose if he debates me, and so will Andrew Wilson. And that's why both of them are scared. Both of them are scared. So I could even pull up my Instagram and my X where I can show you that I reached out to them. I don't know if my Instagram is linked actually to my desktop, but my X is. What would it be under? How can I find it easily? Because this is like months ago. It's not in a chat. It might be in a chat. Hold on, let me see. What is Andrew Wilson's handle? Okay. There we go. All right, so here we go. I found it. Okay. All right, so, right, this is my debate prompt, okay? He goes, what does evidentiary completeness mean here? I explain it, all right, I explain it with everything here, and you guys can go and see it. It'd be on my profile if you just go back. Where's the date? March 28th, the first date. of this post is March 26th. Okay. If you guys are on X, and then you guys can repost this if you want. He goes, that's not logical, right? Wouldn't that include simple things like, are you aware of what the shooter had for breakfast that morning he shot Charlie Kirk? No. Well, then you have lost according to the standard of evidentiary completeness. I wouldn't need to establish every detail. Okay, so then I say no, because completeness applies to material facts, not trivial ones. Okay, so let's be precise. Do you believe that the official narrative fully accounts for all material evidence, timeline, physical evidence, and witness corroboration without contradiction or unexplained gaps? Yes or no? He goes, I don't think I'm aware of any case where that is the case. I don't even think that's a rational standard for evidence or proofs. And then I say, you are arguing against a standard I didn't set. I never claimed total completeness. The standard is whether all material evidence is coherently accounted for. If key elements, timeline, mechanics, corroboration contain unresolved contradictions, then the conclusion, it isn't proving, it's assumed. Saying no case is perfect doesn't fix that, it avoids it. And then he goes dark. And then some other stupid idiot, inductive, merely a player in language, whatever, gets up and starts arguing for him. Okay. And he just disappears. So, yeah. Let me go back here. Let's continue. Let me refresh my monitor. That is my way to make sure everything is going good. 1 second. Let me just hit skip real quick. All right, cool. All right, we're good to go. Let's continue.
By the way, images that his children will one day have to watch. There is no way they can avoid it.
It's so gross. Yes, they literally can. I mean, I don't know that they'll want to watch it. I mean, if they have questions as adults, like especially Mac might, as a man, might want to see, because Erika supposedly has no curiosity as to how and what killed Charlie Kirk. She's just confident it was a 30-06 by Tyler Robinson, and not seeing anything, like not seeing the weird shirt behavior, not seeing the necklace break, not seeing the wound appear after the shirt comes down, not seeing no exit wound, not seeing any high velocity blood splatter, none of it. She has no curiosity.
And sorry, but Candace saying things like, you know, to Erika, what you did, what you are a part of, that is absolutely unhinged. Even if you look at the things that Candace tries to point out about behaviors of Erika in the aftermath, or things that she doesn't think a grieving widow would ever do, it's so subjective, by the way.
It's not. It's very objective. It's very objective. It's called normal, typical human behavior. Like, we all fit into human behavior because we're humans, okay? And as long as you're not a sociopath, a psychopath, a narcissist, okay, you will behave normal, within a range of normal behavior. And within that range of normal behavior, there is some variation, but outside of the range of normal response to your husband being brutally murdered at 31, everything that Erika has done since September 10th is outside the range of normal behavior for a grieving widow that loved her husband and is actually grieving his death. So here's normal grieving widow behavior, and here is Erika Kirk way out there. It's very objective. It's very objective. We can actually look at many grieving widows' behavior, like Kobe Bryant, Jackie Onassis, and many that are on this community that have lost their husbands, not even necessarily to a tragic death like Charlie Kirk, but other, tragic ways of losing their husband, or even in old age, older women that have lost their husband in other ways. And still, the loss is just so hard to accept. And even good Christian wives still struggle with their relationship with accepting God's decision or non-decision to not save them from that terminal illness, or to not protect them in the car crash, or to allow whatever tragic circumstance was the cause of their husband's death, you still wrestle with God in that time. You're in denial, you're in bargaining, you're in anger. Erika Kirk didn't go through any of those emotions. She's on day 2. Day 1, she's dangling the necklace out the window with Stacey Sheridan. Day 1, she's recording herself over the casket of Charlie Kirk and rubbing and kissing his hands, right? Day 2, she's already accepting to be CEO. Day 2, she's already in Charlie Kirk's office that like is where he lived and worked when he was home all the time. And she's like rubbing the chair, dangling the freaking necklace on the chair. Like this, the battle cry of this widow will echo for eternity or whatever the frick she says. You know? Day 5, she's at the office already working, laughing. I didn't know that you could do that with those emojis. That's so cute. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. My husband's dead. My husband's dead, not to be morbid. Charlie's up in heaven dancing with Jesus. They're working on behalf of us. Charlie and Christ are working together on behalf of TPUSA, and he told me he wants you to be working too. He wants you to be working 20-hour days, 80-hour weeks, don't eat, don't sleep, just so that I and all of us that benefit from all of this make millions of dollars, and then we turn around and fire you because you have questions about the official narrative and you don't accept it as established fact. But your family though. Punished with truth. Thanks for your work with the ASD population and all your hard work for truth. I'm a SPED teacher. I appreciate you. Oh, right on, man. I appreciate you too. Yeah, I am a clinical supervisor in applied behavioral analysis. I work with kids on the spectrum every day, the majority of which have extreme challenging behaviors like physical aggression, property destruction, elopement, verbal aggression, tantrum behaviors, which is 2 or more challenging behaviors occurring at the same time. It's extremely rewarding work. It's also very challenging and very hard, as you know, as I'm sure you know, but it's also very rewarding. So I appreciate your work as well in the schools, working with kids that are special needs as well. Thank you. And thank you for your appreciation. Okay, let's continue. Where was I at? Erika Kirk's behavior, forgiving. Okay, she didn't write her own speech at the memorial. Someone wrote her that. Okay, that means she lied when she said, I wrote my speech and I wrote in, I might forgive him. God, tell me in the moment, Holy Spirit, move me or don't move me to say this or don't say this. So that was a lie. Okay. Candace knows for a fact none of them wrote their speeches. Tucker's the only one that wrote his own speech at the memorial. She gets up there and forgives someone of something. She should have said, Father, I forgive him because I don't know what he did. I don't know that he did it. And she couldn't even restate that Bible passage the right way. Father, forgive them for they not know what they do. What? That's not the passage. You're mixing things up there, sweetie. Forgiving him, what was it, the 21st, 11 days after the assassination, when little to no actual evidence was even presented at that time, let alone now. How can someone, let alone the widow, right, get up there and forgive someone of something that none of us actually know if he's guilty of? You have to forgive someone of something if they're guilty. You can't forgive someone of something if you don't know that they did it. She doesn't know anything. She met with Candace Owens, and Candace was like, so what do you guys know? And her lawyers and Justin Strife were like, oh, we know what you know. Yeah. We're not part of the prosecution team. We're not privy to all the evidence. We know what you know. Okay, then how'd you forgive him? How could you get up there on the show in front of Barry Weiss and say, yes, I do believe that he did it. Why? Because it's just that simple. Why do you think people are believing in conspiracies? Because people don't want to believe that it's just that simple. No, people aren't as stupid as you, and people aren't as stupid as you think we are. Obviously, people that follow Gary Paramount and people that follow Graham and people that follow you and people that follow Dana Loesch are, if they're real, if there's real people out there that actually follow them, and they're not just bots and they're not just paid, people in some sort of like data center or something in China or freaking, Israel, If they're actually real Americans, then yeah, I'm sorry. They're stupid that they believe her and they believe that official narrative. Sorry. Because anyone with a brain can watch what happened to Charlie and easily conclude that a necklace doesn't break. A shirt doesn't pop up before the wound appears. Cavitation would have to happen first, right? So the first thing that would have to appear, in the first order of operations would be the bullet entering the neck, would be the wound. The appearance of the wound would be the first thing. Then the necklace would break almost simultaneously with the shirt movement if we're going to say that it was all due to cavitation. Oh, why did it happen in reverse? Why did the necklace break and the shirt move first? I thought cavitation did it. No. Okay. Where's the exit wound? 30-06. No exit wound. Where's the high velocity blood spatter? Doesn't exist. Okay, then how was it a 30-06 round? It's not. Low velocity, medium velocity object entering his neck, plugging up the wound. Why doesn't it bleed immediately? Something's in there. It's blocking it. Why does the wound shape like the rectangle, the exact diameter of the battery from inside the road mic? Why is it that we see the wound? It's a weird shaped wound. And then there's no blood. And then as he falls over and Dan pushes him to the ground, and gravity and the buildup of the blood behind the battery eventually pushes it out. And then you see this man-made rectangular object precede the blood that pours out, which is dark brain. I think it's deoxygenated, or, it's blood from the brain. It's the jugular. It's not the carotid. And that's why it pours out almost like a wine bottle or like a vase pouring something out. And that's why we would not, and his heart was done immediately. You could see the immense of energy released by the explosion, right? And it literally distorts his skin. It distorts his hair. It reverberates him up. He immediately has a traumatic brain injury, locks up, okay? And that's why we wouldn't see continual bleeding on the way to the car and in the car. Because it wasn't an arterial bleed like that was pumping from the heart. We don't see spurts of blood coming out because his heart was already done. Okay? Neurosurgeons, brain surgeons that are honest people that have viewed that video all say the same thing. He was dead. Deep brain injury, mid-brain injury, and that's blood coming from the brain, just draining from the brain. Okay? Nothing that Erika has said and done since the assassination is normal and is in keeping with an actual grieving widow that wants to get to the truth and wants to actually know who killed her husband. Okay? That's a fact.
Everyone grieves differently. That is not up to us to judge, whatever. But Candace here is implying that Erika was part of a plan to kill her husband.
No, Aaron. What Candace is proposing is that her behavior and decisions as CEO, how she's ran Turning Point, all of her appearances, everything that she's said and done since September 10th is very, very suspicious. And it doesn't seem like a real grieving widow that loved her husband that would actually do these things. And so then that begs the question, okay, then why would someone be doing and acting and saying these things? Why does it seem like she's not really grieving the loss of her husband? Why does it seem like she's not really trying to get to the bottom of who assassinated her husband? Well, maybe because she already knows. Maybe because in some way, shape, or form, she did have some foreknowledge and participation in the planning and preparation of the assassination. No one has actually claimed that Erika is the one that killed Charlie. We're saying that those in his vicinity before, during, and after, those that had benefited the most after his assassination, had the most to lose from him staying in his position and staying alive and continuing to further divert from the pro-Israel cause. All those people had the most to lose, Charlie alive, have gained the most with Charlie dead. All those people have acted in a way that's not in keeping with people that loved and cared for Charlie. Which then begs the question, why? Why would they be acting this way? Because they know? They know something. They were part of something. Like what? Like part of the assassination in some way, shape, or form. I think the only people that we don't actually know for sure, like 100% like proven yet, there's enough evidence that seems to substantiate the claim that it was the road mic. In my opinion, there seems to be enough evidence to substantiate that that theory is the most likely theory of Charlie's assassination and death and cause of his death. We don't really know who triggered it. We do know that Terrell Farnsworth and Philip Goldsberry put it on him. We think that maybe Brian Harpole triggered the device and armed the device. John thinks that whoever shot the round that flew over the crowd and into the back of the van and into the ballistic gel, that's what triggered the device. So whoever, if John's theory is correct, whoever fired that round, that rifle, and shot that bullet, which is the bullet is the thing that triggered the device in John's theory, then that person would be the one that actually, triggered the device. But everyone that participated in and was at Fort Huachuca, right, in the planning and preparation and practice runs of the assassination, whoever put the device on him, whoever facilitated everything at the event that day, and everyone that's participated in the cover-up and the disinformation after are for sure accessories before, during, and after the fact. And they should all be investigated, and none of them were. She lied about the phone text messages that Charlie said he was afraid for his life. She said that didn't exist. That came out. No. I thought you meant text messages. I didn't know you meant like WhatsApp messages. Oh, yeah, he did send that. Oh, let's talk about that. Nope, they don't talk about that. Oh, he meant a crazy leftist. We played the Grant Cardone. Nope, he wasn't afraid of crazy leftists. She lied and said the priest came over to pray over Charlie because he was afraid because of that Jezebel stupid Pinterest hex. Nope, Charlie's not afraid of that. He doesn't put any weight into that at all. So why did the priest come over? He came over to pray over their marriage. I think they fought. I think they fought really bad the night before. That's the only thing that explains the alternative to the story that Erika has proposed as to what Charlie was doing the night before, why Gigi woke up, why Gigi was restless and needed to sleep in the bed, why Charlie slept in another room, why Charlie showered, got dressed, grabbed his necklace and ring, and left without saying goodbye, without kissing and saying goodbye to Erika. It points to me to a potential marriage-ending argument, in my opinion. Yeah. Let's go here. Wait, let me see. Where are we at on time? Yeah, we're good. All right, let's hear what else she has to say real quick.
That's not even kind of looking for clickbait or trying to be a little bit out there because it's profitable. It's demonic behavior. It's
says one of the most demonic people ever. So these are the Hasbro talking points again, right? That supposedly Candace has benefited the most financially. No, Erika has benefited the most personally financially. She made $20 million in the first few months after the assassination with all the gifts and goes, the GoFundMes, the donations that went to her personally. All right. People donated physical items as well. Okay. Like actual things that are worth money. She has like a whole warehouse full of all the gifts that were sent to them. Then she also, because she became CEO, the insurance payout for TPUSA's life insurance policy on Charlie was to be paid out to the following CEO, Erika Kirk. I think it was like $500 million or something like that. And then on top of that, she took over the position, which also means she got the salary. Yeah, supposedly she's donating the salary back to Turning Point USA. We don't know for sure that she's even doing that. But even if she is doing that, the salary was like $400,000 or $200,000 or something like that. Nothing. That's potatoes compared to the $20 million and the $500 million that she already received. Okay. Plus, Charlie had investments. He had financial portfolios. Okay. He had ownership of other organizations and companies and things like his for-profit organization was bringing in money when Charlie was alive. It's not very profitable anymore because Andrew Colvin and Blake Neff are now the face of it. And all of their channels and views are. So they're not really making a lot of money on YouTube anymore. But all the money that was leaving when Charlie was there, because he was turning on his support for Israel, the moment he was assassinated, came back in. Okay. They now are a $500 million organization so far. And that was a couple months ago. Guarantee they might be at $1 billion come December. They could give everybody raises. But Candace, yeah, she's made the most. She's such a grifter. That's what's so stupid about these people. All right, here's Rabbi Walicki. They propose that this guy is Charlie Kirk's rabbi, even though Charlie wasn't Jewish. So, I mean, make that make sense.
The upcoming trial regarding the murder of Charlie Kirk and the absolute falsehoods being spread by Tucker Carlson. And you, as someone who was in conversation with Charlie the night before he was killed regarding this issue, and this issue is Israel. Now, Rabbi, you'll note that, I mean, he's a weasel and he uses words, I believe, well, kind of, maybe, I think, and, he leaves himself room to move there. But he's essentially saying that Charlie's shifting views on Israel were the cause of his death, were essentially the reason he was murdered. What would you say, first of all, in response to that?
Well, the final guest that Charlie had on his show, on his last show, the day before he was killed, was Ben Shapiro.
There you go.
Who, I know.
So I'm gonna keep playing it, but I missed the part in Ben's conversation with Alex Clark. Ben uses that as an argument too, as that Charlie didn't have shifting views on Israel because he had been on the last day. That was a strategic move by Andrew Colvett. They knew it was going to be the last interview that Charlie did. And they could say that Charlie made that decision on his own. I don't think they realized that Andrew was going to somewhat out himself. He doesn't say in that interview where Andrew divulges that Charlie didn't want to do this last interview, he doesn't say that it was the Ben Shapiro interview. We found that out because we went back through, all of us found that out when we went back through the video history of the Charlie Kirk show and found out that was the last interview that he did on September 9th. It was strategic for them in multiple ways to have Ben on the last day, the last show that Charlie would ever do. And now they're using that as evidence that Charlie wasn't shifting on his views and his stance and support for Israel. Not a coincidence.
That Tucker considers a shill for Israel and Israel first.
He is.
And a few weeks before he was killed, he had me on because I think we all remember that there was this prevailing narrative that Israel was starving the Palestinians in Gaza.
Charlie didn't get to choose much of anything that he did at the end. Even further back, right? We know that he didn't have control or autonomy over his own social media accounts. We know that Erika Kirk was controlling his home environment, making it to where he didn't have a phone at home. He didn't have any Wi-Fi at home. He had to hard plug in his devices in order to access the internet, only in certain rooms in a certain location. She controlled his privacy. She controlled his ability to access the outside world when he was at home. She would determine when he should have his phone on the Sabbath, when he shouldn't have his phone on the Sabbath. God would speak to her. Andrew Colvett was a part owner of the Charlie Kirk show as well. There were many people that Charlie was forced to have on his show. Rabbi Walicki was one of them. Josh Hammer, Andrew Colvett, and Ben Shapiro. All so that they could then later down the line say, see, Charlie had so-and-so on. Charlie had me on. Charlie had Josh. Charlie had Ben. He was a shill. He was a, supporter of Israel to the very end.
That was perpetrated by international media. There were pictures of emaciated children that turned out to be kids with pre-existing medical conditions. Yeah. And there were UN reports that later would get walked back, but no one would report on them being walked back. It was a very elaborate conspiracy. And Charlie, in conversations with me over the course of a number of weeks, where I was feeding him information, and
he was feeding him information. So feeding him Hasbara talking points, feeding him lies, telling him what to do, telling him what to say. It's not always what they say. It's what they don't say. It's how they say what they do say. That tells you everything. Charlie was surrounded by all of these people. None of them cared for Charlie. They don't care for America. They're Israel first, Israel last, Israel forever.
he was looking at different pieces of evidence. He finally came to the conclusion that yes, indeed, it was a hoax. Now, you might think that, okay, Rabbi Pesach Walicki manipulated Charlie successfully into believing that the starvation narrative was a hoax, but he had me on the show and he devoted a whole segment to saying Israel is not starving the Palestinians in Gaza. It's a hoax. He talked about how he hated being lied to, and he added it up to the other hoaxes that mainstream media has showed us. And he then tweeted out that segment, which he didn't do with most segments on his show. He would pick and choose segments that he wanted to.
How gross is this? He knows that Charlie didn't get to decide what he tweeted and what he didn't tweet. Rabbi Walicki knows that. He knows that Charlie didn't have control over his own social media accounts. He didn't get to decide what he got to say, what he didn't get to say. Trying to use a tweet of Charlie Kirk as evidence for anything is stupid. Take Charlie's word for yourselves, he said. I don't get to tweet. I don't even have the code. I got to get everything approved. So anything I want to say, I don't get to say, and they tell me what I get to say. And we don't know who the people who actually had control of that code. So anyone could have been tweeting on behalf of Charlie at any point. Charlie wouldn't have had any control over that. He wants to use that as evidence. It's nuts. Let's go here because I love Tucker. I freaking love Tucker. He destroys this guy. This is a major news outlet. Hopefully it doesn't ding me for copyright.
I'm former journalist and the creator of the podcast Tucker Carlson Show. Shalom, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
You said you're not running for office, so who exactly you represent with your position?
I represent only myself. I don't take money for anyone. I don't work for anyone. I see my role as articulating, saying out loud what I think is best for the United States as an American. That's it.
Because you're not just a commentator anymore. You shape opinion at a scale that rivals elected officials. So the question is legitimate. Whose interest are you actually serving? Only yourself? Or you think you have a voice of a movement?
My children, my hoped for descendants, my neighbors, my country, that's it. And I think every commentator wants to shape public opinion. That's why you comment. And it's not surprising that commentators would have more authority than elected officials in the United States, because elected officials... I'm
going to leave that disclaimer up because it's going to cover up the stupid writing they have at the bottom.
The United States, for the most part, have no moral authority whatsoever. They're totally discredited through lying. No one believes them.
So you were one of Donald Trump's most consistent and vocal supporters. You called on people to vote for him. What happened?
Yes. Well, I campaigned for Trump. I spoke at the Republican National Convention. I defended Trump for many years on Fox News. What happened was the war with Iran, which I don't believe serves the interests of the United States. I think it's destructive to the United States and to the world, but mostly to the United States. I'm an American. That's what I care about. And that's something he promised he wouldn't do. For 10 years, he argued against a war like this. And then for a variety of reasons, not all of which I understand, he embarked on it. And so I can't support that. My views did not change. His did.
Did the United States lose the war with Iran, or the United States still winning?
Well, it depends on how you define the goal of the war. What's the point of the war? If the point of the war is to make the United States...
I don't know where he starts talking about Charlie Kirk.
9/11, where many innocents.
Hold on.
Think that a foreign leader can pull the president of the United States into a war he didn't want. And what does it tell us about Trump? Is he really that weak?
Well, I don't think that could happen. I saw it happen.
Yeah.
I was there. And so that happened. So the question is why?
Yeah.
And I just want to be clear. I don't primarily blame the Israeli prime minister, who I think is wrong. I think he's gravely hurt Israel. I think he's leading Israel toward destruction. I think he's a very bad leader and a very unwise leader. However, I also believe that Prime Minister Netanyahu is acting in what he thinks is his nation's best interest. So
yeah. Man, this is the only one I didn't write out the timestamp, so that's on me. Mystic, thank you for the 5 Blackline Brief gifted memberships. You're the best. Let's actually go over here. I can grab the timestamps another time. So this is one of Charlie's. This isn't an actual like interview with anyone. He's being interviewed by, who is this person? Where does it start? Hold on. Let me make sure I have the right timestamp for this one. Sweetie, if you're watching, can you send me what the timestamp is, or if it's right in the beginning? We'll see. This is the day before the assassination, and he talks about being excited to go to UVU, and it just was sad, right? And what we can see here too. So this is the day before. Look what's up in the left-hand corner. The wedding pictures there. The wedding pictures there.
Senator Mike Lee from the wonderful state of Utah. Senator Lee, great to see you. Senator, I am going to Utah next week, a week from today.
Okay, so it's a week before.
Wonderful Utah Valley State University. All are welcome. You guys can get your tickets at AmericanComebackTour.com. Senator Lee, this is already making a lot of headlines. People are very angry. They're calling for my cancellation. They think our permit should be pulled. This is a greater response than when I go to Berkeley. Senator Lee, what is going on in the beautiful state of Utah?
Yeah, corruption. I wanted to just play Charlie, just that. All right, let's hop over to here. Do I have it right? 149. Knights of Unity. Is this Knights of Unity? Yes, it is. Knights of Unity. 139.30, and then it's 150. Let me go to 139. 139. Okay, right there.
Overcome it with all its terrors and enticements. The fear of the Lord put into their hearts will be the great means of safety. So again, with time management, the reason why I say that is because, again, we load things onto our list. And I just want to encourage you, instead of giving an opportunity for the enemy, really pray over your plans. Really just saturate your life in scripture. Take control of your life. Take control of the time that God has given to you.
Okay, so I wanted to play that because she talks about the importance of praying over the plans for your life before making decisions. Do you think that 48 hours after an assassination of your husband is enough time to pray and hear and wait for God's answer on whether or not you should take over as CEO of Turning Point USA when you have 2 kids under 4? When you promised the world and Charlie Kirk that your role as a Christian mother, especially kids that are still in the home, 18 and under, not graduated from high school yet, that the Christian mother's role, if the father could provide enough to provide a good quality of life for the family and the mother doesn't have to work, that the role of the Christian mother would be to stay home, guard the home, be the guardian of the home, to be a witness to the child's testimony, to teach them and raise them in the word of God and in the ways of the Lord. And that was what Charlie wanted for Erika, but also that's what he wanted for his kids. Right. And that it speaks more to that, like making the decision to have the mom stay home when you could make that decision, when the husband made enough to do that, that's for the benefit of the children. Okay. the decision that Charlie wanted that to be how his house was ran wasn't because he thought like that's the role, like you just stay home and that's what you should do from like some sort of control standpoint, but it's because that would be the way to best love, support, raise, and nourish good Christian children, for a parent to be home to drive their kids to, well, okay, he didn't believe in school, right? But for us, like if you do take your kids and pick them up from school, to be there after school, to be home with them, to help them with their homework, to take them to and from sports, to be present with them. But for a family that was able to and believed in homeschooling, which we do, and my kids don't watch this show, but we're going to be homeschooling our kids anyway. To be able to raise the kids in the ways of the Lord and teach them scripture at home also, but teach them academics at home. But now Erika's not going to be able to do that. Why would she accept a position as CEO if she's only going to do it for a year or two? Gigi's 4 now. She's going to be 5 next year, kindergarten, right? So like preschool starts already. I mean, they're 4. Kindergarten starts at like 5. So the instructional period of Gigi's life is here. Why would Erika accept this position and only do it for a year and then say, okay, I'm done. Now I'm going to homeschool my children? Because she's not. She's not going to. Let's go to the next timestamp. 150. I'll just start right there.
So patient with us. He sees our heart when we're trying our best. But it is our proud hearts that really becomes a stumbling block when we're on our path of purpose. Because so often when you're building something, me, have a tendency to look back maybe 5 years later, 5 years previous, 2 years previous, pre-children, pre-marriage, whatever you want to look at from a comparison standpoint, and think, wow, what I was building back then was amazing.
Think about that. She said me. She said her, that she does that. That she looks back and she's going to follow up by then saying, oh, now I don't. Now I think the opposite. Great. But you did think that. You just said me. He said, I do this. That I think pre-Charlie Kirk, pre-marriage, pre-kids. I look back at the life that I was doing before all this and go, what I was doing was really great. Man, I wish I could be doing that. What do you know? What do you know? Charlie's assassinated. He's taken out of the picture. She gets to do it now. She gets it all back. Kids are gone. She's not with them. She's not at the home. She's not a stay-at-home mom. She doesn't have that anymore. Now she gets her life again. She's back to where she wants to be. What do you know?
What I'm building now is nothing.
Oh.
And you start to compare.
Yeah. So out of the mouth, the heart speaks, right? She's going to go on to say like, oh, but now I realize otherwise. But no. This is what she thinks. What I have now, what I built now is nothing compared to what I had and what I was building before.
What you're building now as insignificant versus what you were building prior as incredible. And let me tell you, it's the complete opposite when you're fully invested. Because I tell you what, my life looked a lot different when I was building in New York City and I was building in LA.
Sure did.
What I'm building with my daughter and my husband and my family is way more fruitful and
this is before Mac, so that's why Mac's not mentioned.
Rewarding than what I was building.
If that were true, Erika, why did you give it all up to be CEO? Okay, this is how dishonest and what a fake, fraudulent person she is. She doesn't mean a single thing that comes out of her mouth. If she meant this in any way, shape, or form, there would have been no hesitation when the board voted her. She would have been like, no, what I'm building now as a mom for Charlie, now especially more so now that Charlie's gone, what I'm building now means more now more than ever. No, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where God has me. This is my calling. This is my duty, obligation, responsibility. She doesn't mean a single thing she says. Oh, but she's just a grieving widow, guys. Yeah. Oh, we just need to have compassion. We just need to give her grace. We just need to give her empathy. We just had empathy for her situation. Get out of here, man.
5 years ago. And you have to find the purpose in the building and in the battling, because what you're building today will be filled with his glory if you are so focused on making sure that Jesus is a part of every single brick. Then
why aren't you doing that now, Erika? Why aren't you doing that now? Charlie's gone. What do you know? You have no one to hold you accountable. You have no one to tell you, what are you doing? This isn't what Charlie wanted. No one's there. Nope.
You're laying. It's the most important thing to make sure that you know that if God is with you, peace is with you. And your building is not done in vain, and it's not done for someone else to make you feel like, oh, I'm not keeping up with the Joneses. That is a lie. That's a foothold. That's a total foothold. So what you're building it with purpose. And I want you to realize that what you're building is also connected to the spiritual treasures that God has blessed you with.
It's your children, it's your family. She's lying, right? I just ended the poll. It's been up for the whole time. So there's the results. 90% say yes. Andrew Colvette's move to make Charlie host Ben Shapiro on his show on September 9th was a way of saying Israel owns you. Okay. Let's go over here. All right. So this is James Cadiz and Erika Kirk a year ago on December 23rd, 2024. All right. The first one is at 12:06. Am I sharing it? Yes, I am. Let's go.
Already did the work for you. That's how salvation works.
Do you see why I love him? I listen to all of his live YouTubes. I listen to all of his, there's times where I'll message him. He blessed us with this iPod, like old school iPod that had every single one of his teachings on it.
I forgot about that.
Oh no, it's amazing. So the only media we will ever give our Genevieve is this iPod. So we're like always listening to Pastor James Cadiz and
Okay, so this is what's so gross, okay? The two of them continually, before and after Charlie's assassination, just shower one another with the most insane and gross, like, I love you. I love him. She's so gorgeous. She's drop dead gorgeous. She's just like my wife. I'm just like Charlie. Oh, she's the best. She's the one that made TPUSA what it is today. You guys, do 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds listen to sermons or watch a sermon? Are you stupid? Do they think we're stupid that Gigi sits down and watches a freaking sermon of someone breaking down the Bible? A 3-4-year-old? That's the only electronics they let a toddler watch and consume and listen to. Children don't do that. What are you talking about? Oh, and Bob Ross. It's such a lie. It's insane. Let's go to the next one. 1825.
I'll give you one example of this. My children, when I ask them to do something, are not allowed to respond to me immediately and say why. If my children say why when I ask them to do something, then they're going to see the dictator in their dad, okay? Because I said so. That's going to be the answer, okay? And you better do it. You don't have a choice. But if they obey me, even though they're legitimately confused.
I don't know. To me, that just stood out because, like, so he adopted his children. And I don't know at what age he adopted his children, but kids from adoption, I work in a community where a lot of kids are adopted. Your approach to parenting them cannot be, and even with your own kids, Yes, there is a time and place for just strict obedience, right? Because I said so and I don't have to explain why. Yeah, 100%. Kids that come from foster care, come from a traumatic initial home life, right, that are adopted, there needs to be more care and compassion in your approach to parenting them. And there sometimes needs to be an explanation as to why. Because when all they've known prior to coming into your home is trauma, abuse, and neglect, and being abandoned by those who should have been the number one humans to love them and cherish them and care for them, didn't. And so there's all of this restoration and healing that has to take precedent over you just wanting blind adherence and obedience. And this just shows the ignorance of some pastors that think that they know everything because they don't even take into consideration like cognitive development, the cycle of abuse, what PTSD does to children, the long-lasting effects of trauma, and that it should change your approach in how you parent children that you adopt. And even your own, there comes a point at a certain time in life where it actually benefits to explain the why. Not always, no. And not early on, no, because their understanding is not developed yet. But with young teenagers, there are certain times where I don't explain myself, but also you don't need to raise your voice. The moment you raise your voice and you yelled at them, you've showed them that you've lost control. Okay. And you've entered into a power struggle. The moment you ask them to do something and they say why, or they say no, and they get that rise out of you and they see that you've lost self-control and you raise your voice, they've just realized you lost your power and you just proved it to them. You don't enter into a power struggle with children. The power struggle is because I said so. Just do it. Well, now they know. They have the power because they can choose to do it or not to do it. And you don't want to give attention to that behavior, and you don't want to show that you lose control with them saying no or why. You want to show them that even them saying no or why isn't going to provoke that sort of response. And so there's so many things wrong with his telling of that story, in my opinion. Okay. Yeah, he's super aggressive, right? Yeah.
As to why I asked them to do it, and then they come back to me after the act of obedience and they say, "Hey, Baba."
Not gonna let you finish. Let's go to the next one. 2253, right there.
Easy argument that most people would stipulate to that says that the Bible allows you to pretty much eat anything. By the way, including the consumption of alcohol.
Says a guy that was 1,000 pounds, right? The body's like, yeah, just eat anything. Even if it does, I just find that interesting that, of course, that's his argument. That's probably what justified his destructive eating, as he put it previously, right? Now you're going to hear him say that he doesn't have anyone on staff that drinks alcohol at all. Right. So complete abstinence is the only way for him, but he doesn't have complete abstinence with a juicy steak. OK, so do as I say, not as I do. OK, not everyone's vice or not everyone's decision to what they have at the end of the day as something to relax is the same. Another person's glass of wine is your juicy steak. OK, and you're going to tell them they can't drink. You should stop eating, bro. You should just stop eating. Anyway, you're also going to hear Erika Kirk lie right now.
I was just going to bring up alcohol.
Erika was just going to bring up alcohol. I was just going to bring up alcohol. I didn't drink for 5 years in DC. I mean, in New York. Video of Erika in New York. Oh, I didn't mean that. That's not what I meant. Oh, I didn't partake in the drinking life, nightlife. That's what I meant. I wasn't dating anyone for 5 years. Meanwhile, a video surfaces of Erika dating Cabot Phillips and other people in New York in that 5-year time period. But Erika's the one that's like, I was just going to bring up drinking. She didn't stop drinking. That was Charlie's decision. Okay. And now you're going to hear her lie and say something, and I'll point it out after the fact, but here it comes.
Absolutely hate it. I don't allow anybody who ministers on staff with me to drink. I won't drink. If I drink, I'd be 1,000 pounds.
We're the same way.
You are 1,000 pounds. You like literally were 1,000 pounds, like literally without drinking. So, I mean, and now Erica's like, we're the same way. Wait till you hear it. Here it comes.
Yeah,
Charlie said no one on our staff drinks.
Yeah, and I think it's really
Charlie says no one on our staff drinks. Okay. Andrew Colbert drinks. Tyler Boyer drinks. Oh, what about all those nightlife parties that so many TPUSA staffers and employees that have left? And we have video of it, of you guys taking them out and getting them all drunk. A lot of people on staff are drinking. What are you talking about? What staff? Be specific, because you just made a general statement that no one on your staff anywhere drinks. You're a liar. There's like video evidence of people drinking on staff. And that like the leadership, like Tyler Boyer, actually are the ones like pushing it and like getting them liquored up in like clubs and other places that aren't appropriate. All right. Oh, I wanted to share this too. I found this. It's this is just funny. We just need a laugh. This is Erika.
Turning, welcome home. Here's a big hug.
Welcome home. Here's a big hug.
So happy that you're here. We have amazing things in store for you. And we also are blessed to have Pastor James Cadiz back with us as our pastoral advisor throughout this entire journey as we read the Bible cover to cover.
Just like I did in 9 months when I locked myself in my room, when I was indoctrinating myself into how to become a Christian, how to become a Christian. Am I doing good? Do I have you guys faked? Nope. Nope. We don't believe you're really a Christian. Nope. Not at all. Let's see. Sweetheart, did you send me that clip of Charlie for towards the end? Hold on. Let me check a couple administrative things real quick. If you guys haven't done so already, please do me a favor and hit the like and the subscribe button. It is the best way to help support a channel for free. Also, what you can do is after the video is done, we're not done yet. Don't go anywhere. We got some more stuff to do. I'm just checking this off the box now. After the video posts, when the live is done later, you can go under the video and just write a comment. It helps the algorithm. It helps promote the video to new people. You can also hype the video for free. It's like this little box where like the comments, it says like the comments, you swipe it to the right, there's like the 3 dots. It'll say hype, and you can hype it for free. Those are the best ways to help support a channel for free, okay? If people want to donate and help support this channel, you can do it through the Venmo Blackline Brief account. Here, you just scan the QR code, or you can do it at buymeacoffee.com/the Blackline Brief. Just make sure when you do so, you write a memo and a note as to what you would like your money and support to go to, and I make sure that it does. In the works coming up will be an online store with merch. It's coming, guys. Okay, it's a lot of work, but it's coming. And when it finally is available, it'll be on YouTube. There's a place on YouTube where it's like the online store, and I'll let you guys know when that hits. Okay. Also, yeah. Okay, let me check my email to see. All right, she didn't send it yet. At the end of the day, Charlie clip, if anyone else has one, please send it to me. I'm going to go to my YouTube, and I have some saved as well. Let me see. Let's see. Let me go to, I have my watch later, my save list. Oh, you know what'll be interesting? Okay, let's do this real quick because I thought this would be a good thing to show you. All right, hold on. Oops, hold on. You guys want to know if Brandon Tatum is a paid shill for Israel and TPUSA? He is. He is. Okay. Dave Smith is awesome, by the way. Let's see the parts where Brandon is talking, because Dave destroys him, but let's go right here.
conflict. I don't think that in any way he was changing his perspective on Israel, because Charlie's love for Israel goes beyond who's running Israel, goes beyond Benjamin Netanyahu. It goes deeper. It goes to a spiritual level. And Charlie was unwavering on that. But I do think, and I know this for a fact, that he was getting a lot of pressure because the youth was abandoning Israel to a certain degree, and it bothered him because he wanted Israel to do better with their PR to try to capture these young minds so they don't fall or be against Israel, because Charlie had a deep love and respect for Israel. So he was feeling the pressure, and a lot of people can't handle that pressure. And I think that Charlie was in a unique position. Unlike me, I don't care what people say to me. I don't really care. But when it comes to Charlie, he does care about what the young people are saying, because that is the establishment of all that he worked for so many years. So I don't blame him for it, but I do know that it was the pressure that he was feeling. Megyn Kelly was feeling the pressure. And some people just, when that pressure is on, they try to move to a central point so they don't have to deal with it.
Oh, Charlie was trying to move to a central point so he doesn't have to deal with it. Right. Let's go here now. We're just going to listen to Brandon Tatum lie.
Or you're going to lose all credibility and respect from good people that love you. Now, Tucker Carlson, when I first watched it, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think none of it. You know, I don't really like Tucker very much, but and I do think that he has a lot of negative things to say unjustifiably about Israel, but he's entitled to his own opinion. But I can see why some people are thinking that he may have been subliminally saying things that were connecting Israel to this whole thing. Now, I don't go down
connecting Israel to Charlie Kirk assassination. Yep, there is actual connections, and Dave does a great job of pointing that out too.
On the bandwagon, because I can't unequivocally prove that, but I did find it interesting that he had made mention as if Charlie was really an attack or attacking the government, as if Charlie's death was directly associated with government officials, when in fact it was really these narcissistic lunatics that are over-medicated, that hate Charlie because he's countering the arguments that we see that's pervasive on campus. The government is not taking extreme positions as the kids on campus are taking. They're brainwashed. I've been on campus. I've been to probably 40 universities. The kids on campus don't live in reality. They live in an alternate reality. They don't live like we do. We pay taxes. We have to go to work. We have to be nuanced about arguments and things that we get involved in. They are completely radicalized. So I think that people could take it a certain way, but let me tell you this. It seems as if Charlie was very good friends with Tucker Carlson. And it seems to me that Tucker Carlson can say whatever he want to say. And that may be the way he liked to grieve, but that's the way that he wanted to present himself at a ceremony. And I think people should leave it alone, unless you have unequivocal evidence that he was somehow trying to do that.
So they played the clip of Tucker Carlson at the memorial where he made a comparison to Christ was challenging political power and elite in Jerusalem, which were the Pharisees that led to the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, and that he was speaking truth, and that similarly Charlie in his last days was doing similar things. And that it seems to be a pretty good analogy. Not that Charlie is like Christ in other ways. Nope. Christ is Christ. Jesus Christ is Jesus Christ. Charlie is Charlie. He's just a man. Jesus Christ is God and the savior of mankind. But that it looks like when you piss off people that are controlling the political structure and the government in the country that you live in, or the country that controls the country that you live in, that the outcome and that the way that they deal with those people is the same. You just kill them.
Because you cheapen the love and respect and dedication that all of the people who spoke at the ceremony had for Charlie Kirk's life.
Oh, boo-hoo, you cheapen Turek. You cheapen J.D. Vance and Erika Kirk and Andrew Colbert and Mikey McCoy and Rob McCoy. You cheapen. They cheapen themselves, dude. You're gross.
People got to stop trying to go too deep on both sides. Let the man be loved and appreciated by everybody who was on stage, and quit trying to conjure up controversy and conspiracies.
No, there's real issues there, my man. Let's go to the next part. Let's go here. Watch this. This is great. Watch this.
The most disingenuous, evil individuals that I've ever seen online. Nick Fuentes shamed Charlie. Ever since 2017, he would come out, harass, accost Charlie at events. He would harass his wife. him and the gropers would harass my wife because she's white. And this guy said Charlie is a fake Christian and he's disgusting and he should never be able to be on campus without being shouted down. And then he comes out and makes a fake apology. And I felt like you supported that. And then also my art with you, I had never met you before. I disagree with you on Israel, but I respect that you come with your opinions. But when you were on stage at SAS and you chastised those young people and said they can never claim to be pro-life ever again because they support a genocide, I thought that was the most disgusting thing that any adult man could say to young kids who was just seeking the truth and openly listening to a debate.
I'm actually going to let Dave respond to this one. We're going to hear Dave's response.
Between you and another individual. So the only reason I said that is based on those principles alone. I don't know you personally, but I thought that was disgusting. And anybody who support that Nick Fuentes guy who shamed my friend who's now dead, it bothers me to no end.
Oh, it bothers you.
Okay, well, look, I mean, again, I said I give him all the credit in the world for this. And what was this?
The apology.
This was after Charlie Kirk was killed, him saying that he was a good man, that he's praying for his soul, and urging his supporters not to be violent in response to this. Yeah. And I got to say, you know, I thought, as I think many of us did immediately after Charlie was killed, and immediately after your first reaction of feeling so horrible on a personal level for his family, you realize this is a very dangerous situation. And I got to say, for Nick Fuentes, you know, being who he is, to have him telling his audience, hey, if you respond at all with violence to this, I completely disown you. Yep. We need to be Christians about this. We need to be peaceful. We should be praying for him and his family. I give him credit for that. Whatever other beef you got with him, that's between you two. I didn't say I agree with the guy on everything he's ever said. Well, hold on. Let me just respond. I didn't endorse everything the guy's ever said. I said I give him all the credit in the world for this, and then shared the clip of this. Pretty clear what I was saying. And by the way, I didn't chastise the kids at Charlie Kirk's event. I warned them. I warned them that if you're supporting the destruction of a captive, stateless people in Gaza right now, that you will never be able to claim to be pro-life again without being rightfully viewed as the biggest hypocrite in the universe. That's an opinion that I will gladly defend. And I noticed in there, you're not actually taking on that argument. Nope. You're just telling me how disgusting I am for having it. Yep. So listen, man, I think that if there's one thing Charlie would have wanted, it probably would have been for us to have this conversation without devolving into insults. Mm-hmm. You can say it's disgusting if you want to. I think there's a pretty strong argument for my point there. I think it's kind of undeniable. There's a real conflict between being pro-life and then also supporting a policy, the price tag of which is tens of thousands of slaughtered babies, children.
Well, on that point, Officer Tatum, let me, I will let you.
And he's going to add, hold on, let me go to where right after, and Tatum is going to start answering. It's hilarious. This guy is just the worst.
Challenge your intelligence, but I believe that you can see through the bullcrap on so many other people. And I felt like you should have seen the bullcrap through Nick Fuentes, because he's just saying that to save face now that Charlie is dead. You're just all the way up to his death, he shamed him. When it comes to the pro-life situation, there's a very big difference between articulating whether a person believes that life starts at conception, not perception, versus a person disagreeing with urban warfare and the way that Israel is carrying out their attacks in Gaza. That's two different things. They should not be conflated. When it comes to my concerns for Benjamin Netanyahu and his tactics in Israel, or his tactics against Gaza, there's a few things here. I think that Benjamin Netanyahu, and because the nature of the interview wasn't really a debate, it was more so me asking him questions that my audience wanted me to ask him and him putting the.
Okay, so Dave, Brandon Tatum is one of the podcasters, okay, that Benjamin Netanyahu came on their show after Charlie said no. Charlie wrote the letter to Bibi. Then Bibi responds and goes, okay, can I come on your show? Charlie says no. Then Bibi goes, okay. And then he reaches out to all these pro-Zionist Israeli shills. Brandon's one of them. And you can go back and watch the interview of him and Bibi. It's just stupid. You know, Brandon just shows what a freaking idiot he is.
Answers out there, and people can debate that. But I think a lot of people that I know in Israel, including myself and others, that are staunch Zionists, think that he is prolonging the war too long and is causing too much damage and irreversible reputational damage. He should have ended it sooner.
Oh,
and he should have went harder. In America, if we had faced such brutality, rape, people getting their heads cut off. I saw videos of people getting their heads cut off. We would have.
That means he allowed himself to be indoctrinated by the propaganda that Bibi and them showed him, right? They do this to people. Like, come over for a viewing of live footage from October 7th. Come over and let me take you through the Holocaust museums and show you the result of anti-Semitism. Let us indoctrinate you and propagandize you and brainwash you so that you'll go back and be just this, good goy shill for Israel.
Been swift. Within 48 hours, would have caused the most damage that you've ever seen to a country in world history. And Netanyahu, for whatever reason, is capitulating, in my personal opinion, to his own personal image, and that he don't want to look bad. He don't want to be shamed. He don't want people to say that he's committing a genocide. So he's playing in the middle for too long. 2 years of this war is too much. He should have eliminated Hamas immediately, and he should not worry about the naysayers. He's darned if he do, he's darned if he don't. He is not committing a genocide in Gaza. I think that's disingenuous at best.
Good for
because no one committing a genocide will be giving food or aid to a people that they're trying to kill. They would not be sending leaflets and advising people.
This is the Hasbara talking points that you heard Ben say, that Josh says, that Rabbi Walicki says. They're literally, that Aaron Molan says. They all just spout the same BS.
Buildings as they're going to tear down. The population has grown in Gaza from 1948 all the way up until today. 500,000 they started with. They're at 2 million at this point. When did the genocide start? There is no genocide. People can argue the tactics that Netanyahu is displaying in Gaza, but you cannot be superfluous and add these arguments that seems to, in my opinion, be anti-Semitic in many ways. It's not. These people are terrorists, and not the Gazan people, the regular everyday individual. The terrorist group that came into a country and attempted to commit a genocide against Israel. They would have committed a genocide against Israel to a large proportion if it wasn't for the IDF and if it wasn't for the Iron Dome. Let's not forget they shot 4,000 missiles into Israel. They tried to kill everybody. The IDF is going in strategically. I wish that people had not died. I wish that they could end the war so there's no suffering.
Well, let me read this super chat that just came in. Stacy Noble, off topic, but I've wanted to ask you this for months. Do you have a brother by chance named Patrick? No, I don't. I do have 2 half brothers that are 10 and 12 years older than me, but they look nothing like me because they're Italian. And they look nothing like me. No, I am the only son of my actual father. I have a sister, but no, nobody named Pat. Do I have a doppelganger out there running around pretending to be a McKim? Or is Patrick's last name McKim by chance? Or does he just look like me? Let me go back.
I wish that Hamas wasn't stealing food. The UN confirmed that 96% of all the aid is being looted. I wish that Hamas wasn't doing those things. I wish that Hamas would take the approach of Israel, which means when the rockets go flying into Israel, the people go into bomb shelters. When rockets go flying into Gaza, the terrorists go into bomb shelters, and they make their people.
Okay, we're going to be done after this, so I'm going to let Brandon finish what he's saying, and then I'm going to let Dave destroy him, and then we'll be done with this, okay?
People stay above ground to be the blunt force of what they receive in a war that they started for no reason. Hamas knew they could never beat the IDF in Israel. Why did they start the war? Why did they initiate conflict? Why did they rape people and do things like that and videotape it? Why do they still have hostages? And
you know the unpalatable answer, Officer Tatum. I'll come to Dave Smith as well, but the unpalatable answer to that, maybe they did it precisely to goad Israel into a massive overreaction, which would then make Israel and its government in particular hugely unpopular around the world, to the extent that the United Nations is convening today with the UK declaring a state of Palestine. They're going to be followed by other countries, only really America.
Yeah, and that is Israel's dumb enough to fall into that. All right, let's hear Dave. Let me get his full argument of Dave talking. All right, right here.
A hideous sucker punch. Dave Smith, your response to, lots to unpack there, but your response. And then also taking in this news today about countries like the UK, declaring there is a state of Palestine.
Sure. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think Brent kind of almost hit every single talking point there. So I don't know. I mean, I've been knocking all these down for years on your show here.
Well, that's weird. They edited it out. That's weird. In the original, it said the Hasbara talking points. That's weird. Somebody edited that out.
But the bottom line is just that it is just, look, to sit here and say that even as you say, obviously, Pierce, it's not like Hamas had to be rocket scientists to figure this out. This is what terrorism is. It's asymmetrical warfare. The action is in the reaction. Osama bin Laden didn't think he could take down the United States of America by taking out our towers. He thought he could lure us into a war in Afghanistan and that might bankrupt us.
And that's what we taught him when he was Mujahideen, and we taught them how to do that with the Soviet Union when they were in Afghanistan.
It was the plan that our CIA coached him through in the late 70s and early 80s with luring the Soviets into Afghanistan. And so the idea that, and look, we did it. We blew $8 trillion in the Middle East since then. And so that's the idea here. And Israel's completely fallen into the trap. But of course, the reason why that Israel has done irreversible reputational damage, the reason why people are abandoning supporting this is really just twofold. Number one, it's clearly not in America's interest. And number two, this is just indefensible. Even if you say that, hey, look, Hamas goes down into the bomb shelters and leaves the civilians up there to be bombed. Okay, but then ain't there a moral question about whether it's the right thing to do to just drop those bombs on the civilians when you know the terrorists are down in the towers? Hold on, you had a chance to go through all this stuff. So
I know, but I want you to. Can I just
you just went off on every talking
what they
point.
should do, and I'll shut up. No, just explain that
okay,
too.
but
Just have that
I'm just
in your
going to finish.
argument.
I'm just going to finish.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to finish what I did. Well, what they should do is embrace a two-state solution. Ultimately, they should stop occupying a people as they've been
done
doing
it
for
5
60
times,
years.
and the Arabs
No, they
rejected
haven't.
it.
Okay, now
5 times, and the Arabs rejected it.
Yeah, I get it. I know you're going to hit every Hasbara talking point. That's not true. There's been lots of books.
No,
it's not. It's a talking point. It is not true. The Palestinians have never once been offered a full-fledged state. There is not one of those 5 times that they were ever offered a full state. Even, by the way, that's not even your own Hasbara talking point. You're supposed to say 97% of what they wanted, which also is a lie. The point is that it doesn't, no matter what you're going to say here, Israel propped up Hamas for years to keep them in power so that Netanyahu could thwart the creation of a Palestinian state, to then use them as a justification for mass slaughtering a captive people that you have kept stateless for 60 years is morally indefensible. And
I freaking love Dave Smith, dude. He's so good, right? If Charlie ever asked anyone for debate prep or forming arguments, it's not Josh Hammer, who was destroyed by Dave. It's not Ben Shapiro, who's an idiot and never, I don't know if he has debated Dave. I'd have to look back, but he hasn't debated him since that I know of, because he would get destroyed. And there's no coming back from that. Charlie, if we would ask anyone, which he wouldn't need to anyway, but if he did, he would talk to Tucker and he would talk to Dave Smith. That's it. Not Rabbi Wolicki, not Ben Shapiro, and not Josh Hammer. Okay. All right. Let's go here. Let me share this. Okay. We're going to end with a Charlie Kirk clip. Okay.
Hey, what's up, Chart? I was going to ask you, you think that Israel should displace the Palestinians from Palestine to Egypt and Jordan?
It's a tough question. I will say this, guys. I'm happy to do the whole afternoon on Israel, but let's try to get at other questions. But
that's what I'm. That's
I'm not blaming you. I'm just to the audience.
Yeah.
It's a difficult question. I don't know what the solution is. I don't.
So you think it's right for them to?
I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying the solution is very difficult because the people of Gaza have shown that they are incapable of self-government.
Sure.
Incapable. That when they are given self-government, it becomes a terrorist hotbed, and it becomes a nightmare for the Jewish people and war ensues. So I don't know what the,
right. But my question here is, do you think it's ethnic cleansing for it to forcibly tell them to get out of Gaza?
Again, I'm not even saying I support
Because
it.
this is what Trump said.
I know what Trump said. I'm not even saying that I think that's a good idea. I do want someone to tell me what the solution is, though, because that's an idea.
Yes, Egypt actually offered the solution, but Trump actually was against it.
What would you say the solution is?
The solution is to have an Arab state to govern them, basically, and for Hamas not to be in control. That's all I'm saying.
Right. So we had something close to that, though, for years, where Gaza was controlled by Hamas. Gaza democratically elected Hamas.
In 2006, that's correct. But they weren't able to democratically elect again after 2006.
Yeah,
That's correct.
Because the people liked it.
It's not because people liked it. It's because they didn't have any other choice but to
We
do
don't
that.
know. You might be right. I might be right. I
Okay.
think I'm right. Let me tell you why.
Okay, why?
Because when the terrorists went and killed a bunch of Jews on October 7th.
Yes, I know that a lot of people were happy to see. Yes,
Tens
and
of
why? Why
thousands.
is that? Why is that? Because it didn't start on October 7th. It didn't start on October 7th.
Yeah, but this is where we're going to disagree.
Okay.
So I look at things in the term of right and wrong, and just and unjust, not oppressor or oppressed. A different worldview that could be on the left, not saying you are, would say, hey, the people of Gaza.
Yeah, I voted for Trump, by the way.
No, I'm not saying that. For sure, great. We just might not agree on this issue. The people of Gaza, some people would say, hey, it's been a bubbling up problem. We're going to justify what's happening on October 7th. We look at that and we say it's never acceptable to go and kidnap and to go cut throats unprovoked.
So here's the thing. Let me see when this came out. Oh, let me get this real quick. This super chat that just popped up. Who is it? Longtime watcher, first time super chat. Love your content. Happy 4th. Also, thank you for your service. Nicole, thank you so much for your super chat. So glad to hear that you're a longtime member. Glad to see that you're in the chat. Appreciate your support. Happy 4th of July. Happy Freedom Day. And hopefully you have a great 4th of July with your family and friends and get to see some good fireworks as well. Let me get back to this. So Charlie is aware. Let me see when this one actually posted. Okay, let me see. And it may not even be accurate because they took a lot of things down, TPUSA. So it says that this was March 12th, 2025. This doesn't say what event this is. And by the way, here's what's interesting. Okay. TPUSA, Andrew Colvett, Erika Kirk took down a lot of, sorry, my nose is itching. They took down a lot of the full form campus events from the spring of 2025 because like 70 to 80% of the questions had to do with Israel, and they edited a lot of it out. And so a lot of these full campus events only are up in these little clips, right? Charlie even just said that he wanted non-Israel questions in the beginning, but that he's happy to devote the whole afternoon of this campus event to that topic and issue. Is it a coincidence that part of this campus event is not around? Go look it up. If you guys can find this full campus event video, please send it to me. Please email it to me at theblacklinebrief@gmail.com. I've gone through all their archives. Okay. A lot of stuff is gone. It's just not there. If you can find it, please send it to me. I'd appreciate it. But the point being that, this was increasingly more and more common for the campus events. They realized that in the spring of 2025, that's why Charlie did what he did in the summer when the campus event has a break because school is out for the summer. That's why at the Student Action Summit, he has Dave debate and destroy Josh Hammer. He has Tucker and Megan come to SAS, the Student Action Summit. That's why during the Student Action Summit, he meets with all the chapter leads of TPUSA, and him and Andrew interview them. Everything was on Israel. And that's why going into the fall, before the campus tour, the comeback tour started back up again, all of the donors were pulling money, were exerting pressure on Charlie. They were very, very concerned with how the outcome of the fall campus event tour was going to go when all of these people are in these upper echelon circles and they knew that Trump was going to go to war with Iran. They're all Rabbi Wolicki and all them are friends with Bibi. They're talking with Bibi. They're agents of Mossad. They're former IDF. They're all plugged in. They all knew. Bill Ackman, all of them. They all knew that we were going to war with Iran because Bibi was going to blackmail, threaten, and force Trump's hand. They knew it. They knew that if Charlie continued to do what happened in part in the spring, in the campus tour on campuses in the spring of 25, happened even more so in the fall, because in the fall, what we also found out was they didn't release any of the Jet BFB files when we knew that he was an agent of Mossad. We knew that Trump lied when he promised that it was only going to be a limited strike in Fordow, Isfahan, and Natanz, that was it, and that we weren't going to get into a long, prolonged engagement, that we weren't going to do any regime change wars. These people knew that that was a lie, and they knew that Charlie, once found out, if left alive and doing these campus events, was going to change his support and his tune fully for Trump, fully for Israel, totally change. No longer could advocate and support for them. It was going to be bad. That's why they didn't even let him go to campus event number 2. It had to be campus event number 1. It had to be one of the very first questioners that was going to send the signal, because we couldn't even leave open to chance that someone would ask a question about Israel, about Gaza, about everything happening in the war, for us to have for eternity Charlie's last answer to be, I don't support the war. I don't support Bibi. I don't support Trump. I don't support any of this. They couldn't risk that possibility. There would be no arguing that he was turning on his support for Israel in the end. They could have it there. Proof. Boom. Look. That his last video he did was with Ben Shapiro. This is what he would have said if he was allowed to keep speaking at campus events. They made sure that that didn't exist. It's nuts.
Prompted.
Sure, it's against international law, and
Yeah.
I believe that Israel as well, like where they did a lot of things that were against the international law as well.
Well, so I don't quite know what that would mean, but yeah, I mean,
war crimes
such as
mass people.
Yeah, man, it's just, again, I don't want to keep going in circles, but it's like I can't see a single instance of Israel going out of its way to kill civilians.
You don't see it in a single instance of what?
Israel going out of its way to kill civilians. I see Israel going out of its way.
So you don't believe what they've done is genocide?
No, of course not. Because let's get our terms. Let's just go. What is genocide?
People don't understand how Charlie could have said what he said on the PBD podcast about Bibi having a mandate to ethnically cleanse Gaza, not believing that Bibi and the government and the administration of Israel actually did what they were supposed to do that day, that they either allowed October 7th to happen like our government did with 9/11, or that they actually planned and helped orchestrate their October 7th like our government did in 9/11, right? How he could have said that, and then in these public forum discussions that are being live streamed by people right on their own platforms, Facebook Lives or whatever, from their social media accounts, right? Then they get uploaded later by TPUSA and after they're edited, right? But that this would be documentation of Charlie not supporting Israel, condemning what they've done to Palestine as genocide. And Charlie was walking a very, very thin and scary line at the end. And he was trying to, I think, keep himself alive, trying not to destroy his organization that he worked so hard to build, but also stay true to himself and to the base. That's such a difficult line that he was trying to navigate, and he was failing at it. He was. The donors and all those Zionists were attacking him and threatening him, and then he was losing support from some of the Gen Zers because of some of these responses. And that's why he did what he did over the summer. And that's why I think what he was going to do in the fall was completely be where we're all at now. And they couldn't allow that to happen. It's sad, you know. Yeah. Yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much. I don't know if anyone has a super chat that they're typing up. If they are, please get it in before we end. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to do so. An announcement. I had someone guarantee me an exclusive interview with them on the ground in Utah, and then that fell through. So we're going to cover it from everything that gets, published online next week. I'll find the best portions of what happens each day in the court with Tyler Robinson, and I'll bring that to you guys with my opinions and commentary on it. But yeah, so that's that. And then if you guys haven't done so already, please hit the like and the subscribe. It's the best way to help support the channel, and I appreciate it. Also, thank you guys all for your love and support for me, this channel, this community. And let me look at where we're at right now as a community, because it's continually growing, and that's super exciting for all of us. We are at 17,340 subscribers, all thanks to all of you. I show up each day and I do the videos, but without you guys, it really doesn't matter what I do. I'm glad that my ideas are being valued and seem to be resonating with the community here, and with that the community itself finds that in the marketplace of ideas, me and this channel has valuable ideas and arguments that are resonating with everyone. So I appreciate all of you guys so much. Thank you much. Oh, thank you, Carol Pack. Hey, that's crazy. So right now my wife is on a walk with the kids and sent me a photo. We have northern lights outside. I want to go see them. Let's see if I could download this and send this to my email, and I can show you guys what it looks like in the sky. Let's see. Send. Boom. Let's see. It's really pretty, actually. Where's my email? Let's see. Let me make sure that there's no identifying signage or anything. Yeah. It's not super bright, but I mean, it's kind of cool. There's a little bit. I'm going to go out as it gets darker. So that's just of the sky, but I can't zoom out where you can see all of it, but you can see it there. There's some northern lights going on up in North Idaho right now. I'm going to go outside and enjoy that with my family. God bless you guys so much. Go enjoy your family. Enjoy your rest and get a good night's sleep. Love you guys. God bless you guys. I will see you guys back here tomorrow. Oh no, happy 4th of July. See, that's just like my routine. Happy 4th of July. Tomorrow there will be no show. Obviously, it's 4th of July. We'll be spending it with the family all day and enjoying this beautiful country. And yeah, so Sunday will be the next episode. Okay. I'll post the thumbnail and the link for it at sometime in the late morning, afternoon. God bless you guys. Have a great 4th of July. Be safe, be smart. God bless you guys. Love you guys. See you guys on Sunday, July 5th. Bye.